It's time!
3, 2, 1, go. Get up, let me begin. This is TWSN. You ain't heard about us yet, well you better know now, because it's the place that it all goes down. Get up, let me begin. This is TWSN. You ain't heard about us yet, well you better know now, because it's the place that it all goes down.
Shout out Young Swish.
Thank you guys for joining us for another TWSN special here for the TWSN UFC 273 preview show, where we'll see Alexander Volkanovski taking on Korean Zombie Chan Sung Young, as well as some other fights we got going on today. But before we get into that, guys, just want to touch on the unfortunate news that is sort of like taking a hold of today, so to speak. It's the unfortunate passing of former first round pick Dwayne Haskins, who's also the Steelers quarterback, Ohio State standout star. He meant so much to the game of football, to the state of Ohio, to his hometown of home state of Maryland. It's just unfortunate news, that I certainly didn't expect to hear. None of us really expected to hear. And when you hear stuff like that, it really does, it really causes you to reevaluate what's important in life, the people that are important in life to you. I figured that it was important for us to make mention of, the untimely passing of Dwayne Haskins at only 24 years old. It's just really, really unfortunate. And prayers go out to his family, those affected by this tragedy, Steelers organization, the Washington Commanders organization, the Ohio State football community, and so many other people. If any of you guys want to touch on anything with this, you can. If not, we can, get the show started. But I at least want to open up the panel for you guys to say a few things if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll start off. I think the biggest thing with this, prayers to his family, but just that people need to make sure that there's not saying stuff about athletes, that go over the border, right? They're athletes at the end of the day, right? They're still human beings. Just because Dwayne Haskins didn't have a good career doesn't mean, you can trash him as a person. That's him as an athlete. So for me, it just goes back to people trashing him as a player. Well, now he's gone. Now we see it was much bigger than football. So for me, it just realized, hey, people, they're people at the end of the day. So it just sucks to see.
Yep, just a really sad situation overall. He was a guy that had a lot of promise heading into his NFL career. Didn't work out the way it was planned, but at the end of the day, it is a profound tragedy what happened today, and the only thing you can do is just pray for his family, his friends, and everyone impacted by this.
Absolutely. With that being said, guys, we've got a card to talk about. Got a huge card to talk about, and I just want to say something really, really quickly. There's no hiding. There's no more hiding. There's no more cowering away. And you might be thinking I'm talking about Aljamain Sterling, but no, I'm talking about Dorian. A few times that I've been on this damn show, Dorian's always like, I got something coming up. I got this going on. Congratulations on the job promotion, my man. We certainly have missed you on a weekly basis here at TWSN. But you came back today. And I just hope you don't run from the smoke like Aljamain Sterling, like your brother Aljamain Sterling has been doing for the past year. I hope you don't milk this thing for as long as you can, because the fact of the matter is, Dorian, I feel like for the last few shows that I've been on, you've hid from making a concrete prediction, whether it be for the Conor McGregor Dustin Poirier 3 fight, or it just seems like you're just run. So I'm happy that you're joining us on today's show, my man. I'm happy we got my main man Michael Daly on the show. We've got Daniel always on the show, of course, giving me a headache. And we've got Ted making his debut. And if you guys don't follow Ted on Twitter, you should follow Ted on Twitter. Why? Because he's the most charismatic person on Twitter. He's probably a little bit nicer to UFC fighters than I do, than I am when it comes to certain ones, I guess, like KKK. Carolina.
I know what you're saying.
Wow, that's the show we're having today. Yeah. So, KK, Carolina Karowicz, you guys know how I feel about her. You know how I feel about her as a fighter. But Ted feels the same way about some other fighters like Terrence McKinney and so on and so forth. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was about to say.
But Ted has a beef with certain fighters though, or fighters who talk about themselves a little bit. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna jump right into the show then. So starting off, we got Julio R taking a guy who's making his UFC debut, I believe, who hasn't been 2 years, and Daniel Santos. I'm gonna start this off with Michael Daly. Michael Daly, who we leaning for in this fight?
I am leaning heavily on Julio Arce. There's a shot that this could be a close fight, but why would I pick somebody who hasn't fought since December 2019? He's stepping up to the big leagues now, and Arce has a lot to prove after that TKO loss to Song Yadong. He's got a lot to prove. I think he gets a TKO victory in the first round.
Okay, Dorian, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's just hard to make your UFC debut after such a long time. Layoff. I got Arce. Like Michael said, this is make or break for him possibly in the deepest division. I see that he missed weight also, so you're already 20% out your purse. So you better go get that win money. I got Arce in this one though for sure.
Daniel, what about you?
Yeah, so I mean, I have to go with Arce here, right? I love the fact that he's only been knocked out once in his career, and that was by Song Yadong. So I think, we're going to kind of expect a fight that it's going to be 50-50. I don't really expect, a huge barn burner, but Arce, is going to be very cautious, pick his spots, and I think he's going to win this one.
And Ted, let's go to you.
I'm going Arce like everyone else. Everyone is telling me this fight's supposed to be like a potential fight of the night. I'm looking at Santos right now. He was scheduled before this to fight Timur Valiev and Marcelo Rojo. So obviously the UFC has high hopes for this guy coming in. I don't see that. I think Arce is just too much everywhere. Head kick KO on Julian Erosa, like they said. He's only lost in the UFC to Song Yadong and Hakeem Dawodu, who are absolute killers. Dawodu obviously up at 45. Song Yadong at 35, but both top 15 contenders. I don't think a 2-year layoff is a good way to go into a fight with Julio Arce. I think he probably gets a late second or third round stoppage.
The one thing I will say about this guy, Daniel Santos, he does have some power in his hand. So I think if Julio can avoid the early exchanges with this guy, I think he should be fine. But the guy does have some power. I'd be remiss to say to not acknowledge that, and Anyway, moving on to the next fight. We got Piera Rodriguez making her official UFC debut. She was on the Contenders, I believe, but she's taking on Kay Hansen. Kay Hansen, who is a dominant UFC female fighter. I'm kidding. In the strawweight division. She missed weight yesterday. Ted, I want to let you start this one off. How do you see this fight playing out? Who you got?
I think Piera Rodriguez is a big lock for this card for me. If you're a betting man, I'd throw her in your parlay right now. She's floating around that like minus 125 mark. She's better everywhere than Kay Hansen. Kay Hansen is very much a struggling fighter in the UFC. She's nothing but a grappler. Started throwing Ben Askren spinning back fists in her last fight, and then posted them to Instagram as a highlight after she lost. I think she's cut after a loss tonight. Yeah, I think this is an easy one. Again, I'm thinking second, third round stoppage. She has power in her hands, good grappler, much quicker than Kay Hansen on the feet. Rodriguez undefeated, probably looking like a new contender in this division for the UFC.
So she's basically on that Carolina tier, you're saying?
Yeah, right there with the KKK.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Ted, you're a real guy, man. You're a real guy. Michael Daly, I want to go to you next, man.
This one's going to get me in trouble, guys, because as much as I want to pick Kay Hansen because I fell in love with her game after her submission win over Jinyu Fry, I can't do it. She has fallen apart against strikers time in, time out. And in this fight, I think she's going to have a rude awakening against Piera Rodriguez, who doubles up on the jab. I think Rodriguez is just going to get a blowout, unanimous decision victory. Kay Hansen needs to figure it out because as good as she is on the ground, she's from 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. She should be an overall mixed martial artist, and she's not it. She's not it.
She ain't it. Dorian, I want to go to you. Oh, you're muted, Dorian. Go ahead. You're good. You're good now.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to echo the same thing that the guys are saying. I think this is a lob for the UFC. Usually when fighters are making their debut, they want to give them either a favorable matchup or a matchup that's going to test them. I think this is more on the favorable side. I think if she doesn't stop Kay Hansen, that says more about her than anything. So I'm going second round finish.
Okay. And Daniel, wrap it up.
Hansen, I think she had an armbar finish in her UFC debut. But besides that, she's 7-5. So I think Rodriguez is just going to take this one. I'll say decision.
Yeah, I got Pierre Rodriguez as well. Then we've got the future heavyweight title contender Alexei Oleinik taking on Jared Vanderaa, guys. Who we liking in this fight? I'm going to start it off with Daniel.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oleinik, right? What I saw out of Vanderaa is he kind of looks like a bantamweight, in the heavyweight's body. He's, he likes to strike, but he's not. I think he's just going to get mauled on the ground. I think it's not even going to be close. Oleinik's going to have his way on the ground, take him to the ground, and I think he wins. I'll say decision.
Dorian, you made a face just like I made a face when he said he looked like a bantamweight.
Listen, I'm trying to be cordial. It's my first show back. But respectfully, I do agree with Daniel. I do have Alexei Oleinik winning. I do think if he gets caught, it's heavyweight. So if you get caught, I think that's Jared's only chance of winning, really. I think Alexei, he isn't the greatest fighter in heavyweight, but he is a good guy on the ground. That Ezekiel choke or whatever they call it, they're going to rename it after him probably. And I see him getting another one of those against a big, sloppy heavyweight like Vanderaa.
No, and you sure isn't he like a bantamweight, according to Daniel?
I mean. Okay, it was definitely a stretch, but
he's practically like a welterweight in a light heavyweight's body. I mean,
yeah, I'm about to say a bantamweight. That's crazy. But Dale, let's go to you.
Is this even a conversation? Vanderaa's only shot is to get the knockout, but I think the boa constrictor Alexei Oleinik is going to submit Jared Vanderaa for the first time that Vanderaa has been submitted since August 2019. I think he gets a submission victory. Vanderaa, I think, is just too reliant on his strikes, and when he gets to the ground against somebody who is praying that it gets to the ground, he is going to be in trouble. So I think Vanderaa, if he doesn't get that knockout, which I do not expect him to, I think he just gets submitted into oblivion.
I'll say this. I think that fight IQ is going to win out in this fight, and I think Alexei Oleinik has a higher fight IQ than Jared Vanderaa. I could certainly see a scenario where Jared Vanderaa hurts Alexei Oleinik, and then he tries to go to the ground and finish the fight, and then Alexei Oleinik. There's one thing about him. He's as long as he's not fighting someone like the upper echelon heavyweight guys, he's kind of been a little bit durable in there. He's kind of tough to put away. Where somebody like Jared Vanderaa, I could certainly see a scenario where Jared Vanderaa, hurts him and then, tries to take the fight to the ground, or sees Alexei Oleinik get hurt, then then takes him to the ground, and then next thing you know, he ends up in Alexei Oleinik's grasp, and he's getting submitted somehow. But Ted, how do you see this fight playing out? Yep, you're muted.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
I don't disagree with anything y'all have said. I just think he's going to knock him out. I think Vanderaa is going to knock out Oleinik. I think you're right if it goes through it, but I think he can't take a punch anymore. Go watch his last 3 fights. It's terrible. He's if you have to go get a beer in this card, this is the fight. It's a terrible fight. Daniel's right though. I do often mistake Vanderaa for Sean O'Malley. A lot of similarities in their body type. I'm absolutely kidding. But no, he likes to strike. I think who did what's his name just lose to? Doc. I think it'll be similar to the Dawkins fight with Oleinik. He just can't take it. He takes one shot to the jaw and he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't have that. He used to like somebody brought up the Ezekiel choke. He used to get hurt and he'd grab you with his back against the fence and let you take him down. He just doesn't seem to have that reaction anymore when he gets hit. I think he has over 75 fights, like actually professional MMA fights. I just don't think he can take a punch anymore. I think he's going to get knocked out second round probably.
Okay, I can respect that. Guys, now we're moving up, further up the prelims. We've got Mickey Gall, New Jersey native. Mickey Gall taking on Mike Malott. Malott, I think that is how you pronounce his name. Be honest with you, I'm going with Mickey this fight. I know that sounds crazy, and I know Ted, you're like, absolutely not, but it's not happening. These are the type of fighters that Mickey Gall wins against. It's weird, right? His career has been weird, where he'll win fights that, a lot of us write him off to win. Like the Jordan Williams fight, he looked like he had absolute concrete in his hands. And then I forgot who he took on, after Jordan Williams. I want to say who did he fight? He fought Alex Morono. And then he just looked like back like he was terrible again. So I don't know. I like Mickey Gall in this fight. This guy, Mike Malott, he does a lot, right? He's a coach. I think there's been a lot of gaps in between his fights. I want to say his second or his third to last fight happened 7 years ago. It's pretty insane. So I don't know. I think this is the type of fight Mickey Gall will win. And the fact of the matter is, Mickey Gall needs to keep winning in order to stay relevant in the UFC and keep his job. But Dorian, we're both New Jersey natives. Who you got in this fight?
It's Jersey, but I'm gonna be real. I don't think he's relevant in the UFC as it stands now, respectfully. And I didn't know much about the Mike Malott guy, so I started watching some film. I saw his Contender Series Guillotine. That was pretty nice. And I was watching his Cage Fury fight, and he was getting beat down. He was getting he was getting beat down by Solomon Renfro, and then caught him one time, jumped on his back, quick rear naked choke like that. And I don't think Mickey Gall's jiu-jitsu is something that he wants to play with. So I got Mickey in this one. I think it'll probably be a decision, but I think, Ted, if you want to get a beer, this is the fight to do it.
Daly, you're also a New Jersey native. Let's hear from you.
I am a New Jersey native, but unfortunately, though, I will commit a treasonous act here. I'm not picking the New Jersey native. I'm actually picking someone from another country, Mike Malott. Everything you guys said, I understand, but it's why I can't go with Mickey Gall. He's just a little too inconsistent for me. And Mike Malott, although, yes, he hasn't been so active within the past 7 years or so, the guy has fought Hakeem Dawodu in World Series of Fighting. Yes, he was knocked out by Dawodu.
Bad.
Yeah, it was not good, but he's been in there with people who have a reputable resume. And I think what he was able to do in his Contender Series debut and his ability to submit people, I think he can get a win.
I don't mean to challenge you too much, Daly, here, because, it's been a while since you and me had a little bit of a back and forth debate at all, but Chris Matinho's been in there with Sean O'Malley. Are we judging people based off of their level of competition they've been in there with? I know that
Matinho is not Mike Malott.
I understand that, but I also think that Mickey Gall hasn't showed improvements in his game. I do. And I think that these are the type of lower level fighters. I'll put it this way. I think that this is the fight that Mike Malott becomes a full-time coach at his gym and just solely focuses on that. There's another fighter in the
He fought Hakeem Dawodu?
And he got beat up by Hakeem Dawodu.
Yes. So they're talking about a fight that matters nothing because he's a 70.
But it still does matter because it happened. So he brought it up. So it does matter.
But if you get knocked out by a 45er, I don't know what weight class that fight was at, because
45.
If it was if this guy's coming up from 45, Mickey Gall's going to strangle him.
First of all, the only chance Mickey Gall has is a submission, and Mike Malott's jiu-jitsu is better than Mickey Gall's. Mike Malott is better than Mickey Gall everywhere. Malik's going to look goofy.
Striking?
Mickey Gall is not a striker, Malik.
Okay, and neither is Mike Malott.
He's a much better striker than
Mike Malott. Okay, you could be a much better striker and still not be a good striker.
He's going to beat him everywhere.
Okay, and when Mickey Gall knocks him out, we'll come back to this. Daniel, what are your thoughts?
7-4. 2 of those wins are CM Punk and Mike Jackson.
Okay, and Mike Malott is 7-1-1, bro. Whoa. And most of his fights, he's getting punched in his face.
Whoa. CM Punk is a world champion.
A world champion, bro.
In WWE.
Or whatever wrestling promotion he's a part of. No, but I do think Mickey Gall knocks him out here. But Daniel, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Mickey Gall. I just can't get over the fact, I think Malott came up from what was it, featherweight. So Mickey Gall is gonna be the much bigger guy in this. I think it's gonna be a, like Dorian said, kind of boring fight, but I'm gonna take Mickey Gall.
Yep, I got Mickey in this fight, and when it happens, I'll be happy because not that I have any stakes in this fight, but I just like going against Ted. Like I like the a lot. Moving up the card, we got Aspen Ladd taking on Raquel Pennington. Raquel Pennington. I got Raquel Pennington by absolute just grappling the hell out of her the entire fight, making it a boring fight. That's what I think happens this fight. I don't think that this is going to be too much entertaining. I think if Raquel Pennington wants to win this fight, she has to mix in her wrestling. She has to take her down. I don't think Aspen Ladd is somebody. Not that Aspen Ladd is amazing, but I just don't. I think the advantages are to Pennington on when the fight is takes place on the ground. What do you think, Ted?
I think I'm very intrigued to see Mickey Gall's first ever knockout, but also.
What do you mean? Well, he almost knocked out Jordan. It could have knocked out Jordan Williams, bro.
Look how many knockouts he has. It's less than.
It does not matter. If he knocks him out here, Ted, what are you going to say then?
Congratulations.
Okay,
But
there you go. You're wrong.
To this fight. I think Rocky Pennington is not what she used to be. I think the best Rocky Pennington beats the best Aspen Ladd. But I think this is probably a 29-28 either way. She looked healthy on the scale. She's back in her weight class. I think Aspen Ladd probably gets back in the win column here tonight. I think her biggest detractor in the UFC has been the scale. Reasons why she went up to 45, had the scariest weigh-in we've ever seen at 35 when she fell backwards.
Well, that was her that fainted, right? That was her that fainted, yeah.
But she looked good yesterday, on point. I think she probably gets back in the win column. If she doesn't,
I hope she does because I don't want to see Raquel Pennington wrestle her the entire fight. I want to see like an exciting fight, and
I do think like those her wife is fighting on this card. I feel like one of them's bound to lose. That's a weird. I feel like when teammates fight on the same card, you've got Tasha Torres, Rocky Pennington. I'm superstitious. I think one of them has to lose. I think it's going to be both of them.
So basically, what Ted is saying, guys, if you're listening out there, do not bet either of these fights today. Because he is suspicious. He is highly suspicious.
Yeah, I get weird vibes when you got the wife fighting on the same card as well. Same thing with Ian Gary is training at Sanford MMA. I don't think him and Gilbert Burns, one of them has to lose too.
Oh, it's going to be Gilbert. But we'll get to that a little bit later because Michael Daly is a hater. Daniel, let's go to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Pennington, right? The only way I think Ladd can really win this is if she, bursts out of the gate and makes something happen, or else this is gonna be a boring fight. So I think Pennington. It's gonna be 3 rounds of back and forth wrestling, grappling, and I'll take Pennington in decision.
Dorian,
I think all of you guys are dead wrong on this fight. I think Aspen Ladd's gonna take Raquel down and smash her face in repeatedly. I think this is Aspen Ladd's first time, actually probably with a good weight cut at 35, like Ted said. I think that means a lot. She lost to Norma Dumont in her last fight.
Yes.
It really wasn't competitive. But Raquel Pennington, like also Ted said, is past her prime. I do think she has better striking than Aspen. But if it stays on the feet, I think Raquel has a chance. But it's fair to say Aspen's going to get the fight to the ground. And when she does, I don't think Pennington has anything for her down there. I think she's going to get a TKO.
Daly.
I have to disagree staunchly with Dorian. The thing that bothered me in the last fight was that Aspen Ladd's corner received a lot of flack for how harsh they were. But they had to be because Aspen was not making those adjustments. She was not doubling up on her punches. Even when she would shoot in for a takedown, she was not trying to go forward with it. She was backing off way too much. Against Raquel Pennington, I'm sorry. I think Raquel is going to strike with her, outstrike her, and get a decision victory. I do not see Aspen Ladd winning this one. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in the span of 7 months, she made a ton of adjustments. I just don't see it.
I feel like if she doesn't get a takedown, I still think we'll see just how, let me not say past her prime Raquel Pennington is on the feet. because her last fight against Macy Chiasson, it wasn't very impressive. Macy kind of gassed out and put her head down like this and just got choked out. I didn't think that was very impressive, and I thought Macy won the first round. But I mean, Aspen Ladd was also fighting Norma Dumont, who's 10 pounds heavier than her. So
Okay. We're gonna move on up the card, guys. We got Anthony Hernandez taking on Josh Fremd. I'm gonna let Teddy start this one off. Ted, who we got in this fight?
I'll be honest, this is the fight I know the least about. I think they have like combined maybe 20 fights. This is a very low experience in a high setting, big UFC pay-per-view. Fluffy looked good when he submitted Rodolfo Vieira, I think, was that?
no, he didn't. he got beat down bad for the first round, and I think Rodolfo gassed out.
Yeah. But I mean, still to submit Rodolfo Vieira, no matter where it is, that's pretty impressive. I know he lost to Kevin Holland, and then the only person I know on this Josh Fremd guy's resume is RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez, and he was stopped by Gregory Rodriguez. But he's from the LFA banner. He has a pretty decent record. I think this could be a pretty exciting fight. A lot of those times when these guys don't have the most experience, they go in and they just throw. So I think we could have Daniel might have said before we went live, this was his potential fight of the night. I think he could be right looking at it. You just got two guys that are going to want it and not have the experience to know how to go out there and get it the right way. So they'll probably just throw down. This could be a fun one.
Dorian, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know much about Josh Fremd, but the one fight Anthony Hernandez I did see was against Rodolfo, and he was getting his ass beat, to say it bluntly. And then I think Rodolfo just gassed out. And then, I mean, submitting, a jiu-jitsu world champion is a great thing in itself. But if Josh Fremd doesn't gas out, I think Hernandez was easily hit. And I think Josh Fremd's going to get it done this time.
Daniel?
Yeah, the biggest thing I think, looking at this fight is Fremd's a big underdog. I think it's like plus 155, and to me, this is kind of a toss-up. The only real fight I've watched out of these guys is I think Hernandez fought Kevin Holland, and it's almost a similar, fight style to what Fremd has. And the original fight, I think he was supposed to fight Duplessis. Hernandez could have, taken advantage of him on the ground, but here, Fremd, there is no real, there is no real downside to Fremd. There's no real weakness. I'm going to take Fremd, and I like the plus, I think, plus 150. So I'll throw some money on that one.
And Michael Daly.
Josh Fremd has never been submitted in his career. He had an impressive win in February over Joel Bauman. He's getting submitted tonight. I'm sorry, guys. Anthony Hernandez is going to stop any potential hype train that is coming out of Jacksonville, Florida. He's getting the submission victory, and he's going to do what he has to do because Anthony Hernandez, like Daniel said, he was preparing for Dricus Duplessis. Okay, bring on this new guy, Josh Fremd. He's going to submit him.
Wait, Fremd is from Jacksonville, you said?
No, but the fight is.
Oh, okay. I was going to say. There's a hometown cooking for him.
I agree with Daly. I think you guys are sleeping on Hernandez here. I think Hernandez gets the victory here. I certainly see a scenario in which Fremd, I think if he can evade that early burst from Fremd, I think he'll be fine. I think this is a Hernandez fight through and through and through. We've seen him in there against some tough competition. I don't ever like to do MMA math, but I like the opponents that Hernandez has been in there with as opposed to Josh Fremd. So yeah, I'm going with Hernandez in this fight, and I agree with Daly. I think it could be a submission victory, but don't be surprised too if he stops him. If he stops him via TKO or something like that. It always typically happens with guys who are like sort of last minute replacements, things of that nature. But I want to keep it going. Ian Gary is taking on Darian Weeks. This is one of my locks of the night, personally. I'll just start it off. I know me and Ted were talking all week about who we got and things of that nature, but I'm going with Ian Gary in this fight. I don't think Darian Weeks is good, to be honest with you guys. I just don't think he is. Brian Barberena was coming off of the worst Dorian's laughing, but I'm about to go on my epic rants. Brian Barberena was coming off of one of the worst training camps of his life where he had a bout with COVID. He looked terrible in that fight. And Darian Weeks had all the that. If you're going to make a statement in the UFC, if you're going to win against a veteran, that was your time to do it. You know what I mean? I think that this is feeding personally sheeps to wolves with this fight. I think that this is UFC just giving Ian Gary a layup, and it's up to Ian Gary to finish it off, and I think he will. And I don't think it'll be too long of a fight, to be honest with you guys either. But Dorian, what are your thoughts?
My initial thoughts when I saw this fight, I just wonder if Ian Gary's playing, 18 holes right now, like he was before his UFC debut. And when I think about it, I'm like, okay, he's obviously supposed to be weak, like you said, this is a layup. But I can't let you go on Brian Barberena like that, because he's a tough out. So, I mean, it was a tough fight. I think Weeks is a very slow starter. I think that is a recipe for hell against a guy like Ian Gary, who's fast, first round, knockout type of guy. So, yeah, I think Ian Gary's going to get it done.
Daly, I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are on this fight.
I don't know why Dorian would use 18 holes as a referendum against Ian Gary. It's how he gets in the zone. First off, here's the thing, Dorian. Ian Gary made his debut at MSG when the lights were the brightest against Jordan Williams, who we just talked about, who faced Mickey Gall, and he delivered. Yes, he had blood seeping out of his nose, but that didn't matter. He stepped up. He was able to hold off any grappling attempts or any takedown attempts that came his way, and he pulled off a great first-round stoppage. Give me Ian Gary all day over Darian Weeks. All day.
Agreed. Daniel.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you guys. The biggest fight I saw, it was Weeks' last fight. I just remember his legs getting kicked in. So I think, Gary's going to try to do the same exact thing, go for the legs, attack the body. And I think we could, I don't know if this is, popular, but I think we could see a knockout, right? Just if he follows the same exact formula, attack the legs, catch him with the overhand right. Probably not likely, but I'm sure the odds are crazy high for that, probably plus 600 or something. So I like Gary in this one.
And Ted, we're gonna bring it home with you.
Yeah, Malik, this is a layup. They found Ian Gary the only welterweight with less experience than Ian Gary. He has like 6 fights or something. Darren, yeah, he's literally like 5-1. So they found him the only guy with less experience than him. I think Daniel really actually just had a really good breakdown. I think the biggest mistake Ian Gary had against Jordan Williams is he just straight boxed him. If you're familiar with Ian Gary, he has nasty kicks, really nasty kicks. So I think he sets that up early. One thing that Ian Gary does get hit. He fights with his hands out. He does get hit. That wasn't something I haven't seen from him in that Jordan Williams fight. He does get hit. I don't think he was ever hurt. I think he was controlling that fight. I think he's gotten more hate from that than he should. The kid's terrible on the mic. He's awful on the microphone. And that's going to warrant the hit. But I think his performance was more dragged than it should have been. I think Daniel's right. I think he stops Darian Weeks for sure. Could be a head kick. He's got nasty head kicks.
This is what I call a bottom of the barrel fighter in Darian Weeks. I mean that in the most respectful.
Wait. One quick thing I do want to touch on what Ted and Daniel said, and to Mike. The reason I brought up golf is because he didn't kick at all. So if you're playing 18 holes at noon and you got to fight at 6, your legs might be shot from walking the course all up and down. So maybe that had an effect. I didn't put 2 and 2 together until they just said that.
He does it regularly though.
I mean, yeah, anyone who plays golf plays golf regularly, but are you going to play golf on your fight day again when you just...
First off, Roy Jones Jr., who Ted's actually wearing a shirt of, used to play a full game of basketball the day of his boxing matches. I don't want to hear, golf
comparing Ian Gary
tires. Come on.
Come on, dog. You're not comparing Gary to Roy, dog. Don't do that.
Oh, no. I'm saying basketball, which is straight cardio, and you're talking about someone who's clubbing and walking around a course? Come on.
Probably riding a car.
Exactly. I don't know. He's done it all. His body's conditioned to play 18 holes.
Okay.
I gotta say I've missed this banter back and forth between you, but I also like the hyper sense of awareness of Dorian. Like I had no idea where he was going with the whole golf thing, and it makes a ton of sense as well. But I think we all can agree that this is a fight right now for Ian Gary to obviously go out there and just showcase, you know, what he's able to do. And I think it will be a missed opportunity if he does not finish a guy like Darian Weeks. But Darian Weeks, I think there's still a spot in the UFC for Darian Weeks. I think he will be that guy that they feed the new up and coming potential contenders to.
My thing with Darian Weeks is, like I brought up, he only has like 6 fights. He has no business even being in the UFC yet. He's like a UFC 4 career where he jumped right into the UFC and started going to the he should be in the minor leagues right now. I think he just wasn't brought up the right way. He could very well go. I think he has 1 fight in LFA. He could very well go back to LFA, go through that, and come right back up. He's young. He only has 6 fights. He just shouldn't be fighting welterweights in the UFC.
I got to be honest with you. I'm a little upset too, guys. Right as we move on up the card, and I agree with you, Ted. By the way, that we're not getting Marcin Tybura taking on Jairzinho Rosenstruck, because I thought that was one of the easiest locks on the card. I thought Jairzinho Rosenstruck would have absolutely melted him, and Vegas was super disrespectful to have Jairzinho as a -150 favorite. Jairzinho should have been a -300 favorite, if you ask me. He would have absolutely melted Marcin Tybura. I don't know why they put so much stock in Tybura, but me and Ted went through Marcin Tybura's track record inside the UFC and outside the UFC, and we could not come up with the reasoning as to why they viewed this man so high. Oh, he beat Greg Hardy. Everybody beats Greg Hardy. Literally everybody beats Greg Hardy.
He got beat up by Greg Hardy. He
got
beat up by Greg Hardy.
Yeah, and the only people that listen to people that I know he's on the card. It's not on the card, but as Vegas, if you're listening, which I'm sure you're not. Listen, the fact of the matter is Jairzinho Rosenstruck has lost to 3 people in the UFC. And now, can I tell you who they are? Cyril Gane, Francis Ngannou, Curtis Blades. What do all 3 of those guys have in common? They're all the top of the heavyweight division. Curtis Razor Blades is literally the best wrestler in the heavyweight division. Cyril Gane was the interim heavyweight champion, although I'm sure Dorian has his feelings about that. Francis Ngannou is the heavyweight champion, and Curtis Blades should be fighting for the heavyweight title very, very shortly here. I just don't think Marcin Tybura is anywhere on the level of that. People were saying, oh, Marcin Tybura is going to out wrestle him. Marcin Tybura is a guy that gets gassed when he wrestles himself. So I don't know what they saw. I'm sorry, I just felt very passionate. I really wish that fight would have taken place, because I would have absolutely cooked Tybura, because I've watched all his fights. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you, because we had talked about this a lot, but not since it dropped out. Do you even want to see them rebook this, or do you want to see them?
Yes. You want to know why I want to see them rebook it, bro? Because literally Tybura called for this fight. Tybura called him out. So Tybura, you got to get this ass whooping one way or the other. You've got to. You got to get melted by these punches.
Put it on like a fight night, though. Give it like a co-main.
Give it. Because this doesn't. Tybura got knocked out by Augusta Sakai. Do you remember what Jairzinho Rosenstruck did to Augusta Sakai? Face planted him. It would be worse. Matter of fact, give Marcin Tybura after Tom Aspinall beats Tuivasa. Give Tai Tuivasa Marcin Tybura so he can just end his career. Anyway,
I want to see Derek Lewis, Jairzinho Rosenstruck.
I think Derek is done, bro. If I'm being honest with you.
That's still a good fight, though.
It is a good fight.
If they're going to pay him one more time, maybe do another Houston card, although I don't think he should fight again.
He needs to move away from Houston, actually.
Yeah, big time. Because he takes L's everywhere, even on his social media when he gets tickets. He just takes L's in Houston all the way around. But guys, we want to move up the card. We want to go to Vince Pichel taking on Mark Matson. Let me just tell you guys, I love Vince Pichel. I want to share something with you guys. You guys see this screen right now? Vince Pichel had tweeted this out. I think it was yesterday. It was yesterday. He said, tomorrow we wrestle until he's gassed and I turn it up and start to punch mud holes in his face. I don't know. Vince Pichel is my type of fighter. He's my type of guy. Ted, I know you're a wild guy. I know you're a wild man. You're crazy. Tell us about this fight. I'm going to leave this tweet up because this is, if you guys have never seen a Vince Pichel fight, this is everything that Vince Pichel is about. He's good. He's just all around good. And I think Vince Pichel could absolutely be the fighter to give Mark Matson his first loss on his record?
Just go to his Twitter yesterday because he was giving it to trolls and everything. I think he's hyped. Mark Matson probably right. I think his best to wrestle and he's not the guy. He's not the guy to just wrestle 15 minutes. I think Mark Matson tonight. Probably bloody. But that's quite gone.
Yeah. What about you, Daly? What are your thoughts?
This is actually my fight of the night. I think there's a very good chance that Marco Madsen gets the win here. Because Vince Pichel, he likes to clinch, and I think that fits right into Marco Madsen's favor. I think Marco Madsen's going to get a takedown several times. Pichel only has a 25% takedown defense rate. I think that benefits Marco Madsen. So he's going to get a split decision win.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember Cliglita clipping him, and I definitely think Vince Pichel has some power in his hands, and I definitely think he can do some damage to Mark Madsen. I think Mark Madsen can gas in this fight. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ted, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he gassing towards the end of the Cliglita fight? He was sort of just flailing takedowns at one point.
I genuinely.
Yeah, so what? That's how the split. Last round was
yeah, and Vince Pichel has crazy cardio. I think he'll still be there. I don't know, Dorian. What are your thoughts?
I think Michelle is the madman. Dash says it all. But I do think Marco Madsen is gonna get it done here. I think he's gonna keep his O, and I think it's going to be my personal fight of the night. It's probably not gonna win the 50 Gs because two champs are on the card. They're gonna give it to one of the winners. But I think this is probably gonna be the most entertaining fight out of the whole card because these are two guys who, like you said, Pichel is looking to wrestle him till he's tired and then beat him up. Madsen, he's just gonna try to go in there and just wrestle, period, just to get the finish. So I think this is probably going to be the fight of the night. Hardest fight to pick, but I think it's a pick 'em. But I got Marco Madsen keeping his O.
Okay, and Danny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Madsen in this one, right? The reason I'm gonna take him is because I remember watching that last fight, against Clay Guida, and I was like, it was like he didn't really go for the takedown as much. I think he really kind of tried to outpoint him. So as long as he's able to go back to his wrestling ways, I think he'll wrestle him and hopefully he doesn't get tired. So I think it's gonna be a decision win for Madsen.
All right, guys, we're gonna moving on up the card. We're gonna go with Mackenzie Dern taking on Tasha Torres. I honestly, this is one of the fights I have no idea who's going to win this. It's one of the fights I'm genuinely confused about because Tasha Torres only lost to the best. Mackenzie is looked at as one of the best. She only has 2 fights on her record. I believe she's coming off of a loss, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Yeah. So I don't know. This is a tough fight for me to pick. So I'm gonna let you guys pick. I'll probably just hold my cards close to the vest on this one. Ted, let's start with you.
I think this is 29-28 either way. I lean towards Mackenzie Dern because every time Tasha Torres fights a top 5 girl, she loses. I think it was 4 in a row. Jessica Andrade, Joanna, Weili, Marina Rodriguez lost all 4 of those in a row. And she bounces back against fighters like Brianna Fortino, Sam Hughes, Angela Hill. I think that's her lane. I think she's just had way too competitive a fight with Angela Hill for me to say she's going to beat Mackenzie Dern. I think there's just levels to this game, as a Bellator fighter once said.
Right.
But I think.
You just really just. I'm sorry.
I think Tasha Torres can win this fight probably with wrestling and just stopping the submission game. of Mackenzie Dern. I think Mackenzie Dern can win this fight, coming out and showing that she's developed a striking game and having anything in the stand-up realm, and then working in her own takedowns. But I think if Mackenzie Dern is on bottom more than she's on top, she loses. And this will probably be a pretty fun fight, honestly. I think it'll be very high pace. These girls are in crazy shape. Probably don't know who wins till the decisions are read, I feel like.
Okay. Want to go to Daly?
Tasha Torres has never been stopped in her career. And she even said that she's going to be too fast for Mackenzie Dern. She's not going to be in the spots that Dern wants to find her in. But Mackenzie Dern's going to take her down, and Mackenzie Dern will set up a submission. And for the first time in Tasha Torres' career, she will be stopped. She will be submitted tonight. And this is the night where Mackenzie Dern's career gets back on track. The loss to Marina Rodriguez was not great, but now she's going to find a rhythm in her career, get back to a point where she could potentially fight for a title. So she's going to submit Tasha Torres. That's the way I see it.
With her fake Brazilian accent. Dorian, what are your thoughts?
My first thought is I can't believe Ted just reduced Corey Anderson to a Bellator fighter. But no, I think I agree with Daly here. The line is swinging drastically towards Mackenzie Dern. I'm looking now. It was a pick'em fight.
Yes, it was.
Now Mackenzie Dern is minus 120 and Tasha Torres is plus 100. I think them being at the press conference said a lot. Me personally, I didn't know if they were going to be there, but once I saw them there, and Tasha Torres goes, "Oh, you know, I'm better than her everywhere," and Mackenzie Dern looked at her and says, "What are you going to do when I take you down?"
I think that's what changed the line. That's what changed the line.
That right there, it put it in my head like, wait, what is Tasha Torres going to do when Mackenzie Dern takes her down? She's going to get choked out. She's going to get her arm taken home. I think Mackenzie Dern, first round sub, fireworks, and Mackenzie Dern's right back into the title picture. Maybe a rematch with Marina down the line.
And Daniel.
Yeah, this is one of those fights where I look at Mackenzie Dern. She could be losing the first two rounds, and in round three, all it takes is one takedown, one slip up, and she's done. So, I'm gonna take that over Tasha Torres, and because with Tasha Torres, you're betting on a decision winner. You're betting on her just to catch Dern. I don't think Dern's the bigger fighter. Dern's gonna be able to take her down at some point. I think she'll slip in a submission, and like I said, I'm okay with it going to round three because I'm still confident that Dern will be able to find that submission.
I would say this. I think Mackenzie's path is make this fight muddy, make it dirty. Obviously don't stand in a box. They're not saying that you're just an awful striker and that Tasha Torres is some amazing striker. Not hinting at anything, of course. But what I will say is that I think if she makes this fight muddy, make it dirty, take her down a couple of times, just make this fight. You guys ever got a cold before and you feel congested? That's literally how Mackenzie Dern has to make this fight. Make it congested, right? You want to suffocate her in there. Hold her up against the cage, hit her with knees, hit her with elbows, punch her in the the stomach. I think that's Mackenzie's Dern path to victory. But guys, we want to continue to move up the card. By the way, that was an awful press conference. I just want to make mention of that. UFC 273 press conference was freaking awful. It was awful.
They were on their phones the whole time.
Yeah, they need to never do that again. Because I don't know. If I was looking forward to a fight like this, I would be like, eh. But guys, we've got
terrible.
Yeah, it was crazy. We've got Gilbert Burns. And sorry, I didn't mean for the audio to be playing as I was doing that, but we got Gilbert Burns taking on Khamzat Chimaev. I'm gonna say this right now. Khamzat Chimaev by decapitation. Everyone's like, oh, Gilbert Burns is going to drown him. He's going to take him into deep waters. He's going to really, we're going to see what Khamzat Chimaev is made of this fight. I don't know what I'm seeing versus what everyone else is seeing, because I personally think Khamzat Chimaev is ridiculously bigger than him. Like, let's be real with you. Gilbert Burns is small for the welterweight division. Credit to Gilbert Burns. He has made a name for himself in the welterweight division, right? He's really carved out himself as to, to show that he is one of the best welterweights on the planet. However, Khamzat Chimaev is like a light heavyweight. He's like a light heavyweight. We're talking about the same Khamzat Chimaev that had a grappling competition against Jack Hermanson and just ragdolled him. I'm just not seeing what everyone else is seeing. Like, we're talking about Gilbert Burns, who got dropped by a jab from Kamaru Usman. Granted, Kamaru Usman is the welterweight champion. I think Khamzat Chimaev, you guys know how I feel about Khamzat Chimaev. I think Khamzat Chimaev would beat Kamaru Usman, and I don't think that's really like breaking any headlines or news by saying that. I just don't know. If you're picking Gilbert Burns, you obviously are looking for a headline. You're obviously looking to make waves, because you need to tell me where Gilbert Burns is going to beat Khamzat Chimaev, because I don't see it. And yes, Michael Daly, I'm talking to you. So Michael Daly, I want you to go first.
Yeah. Come talk to me.
So here's the
yes,
thing.
let's go.
I
have to see it differently.
Yeah.
So you were saying that a lot of people are essentially doubting Khamzat in this situation. I actually see it the other way. I think a lot of people are doubting Gilbert for the right reasons. Because Khamzat, if it goes to the ground, he has the clear advantage there. Khamzat's the bigger man. He has more power. But Khamzat has only been touched once by a significant strike, and a total of 3 times in his UFC career. I don't envision this fight going beyond the first round, but I see Gilbert Burns coming out of the gates hot, because let's remember, he hurt Kamaru Usman. He dropped him. I think he can do the same. That's fine. But he did it too when he was the JV guy. And he was doubted in that fight.
Kobe has a pillow fist and dropped Kamaru twice.
Okay, that's fine though. But the thing with Gilbert Burns, he has a nasty overhand right. His left hand's pretty solid too, what he hit Damian Maia with. I think a lot of people are overlooking Gilbert Burns. First round, he's going to get a knockout. That's the way I see it.
What he hit Damian Maia with?
What's wrong with Damian Maia? What's wrong with Damian Maia?
Go watch Damian Maia's like last 6 fights, 7 fights, 8 fights, 9 fights, 10 fights, where he has got hurt. When he has gotten it, he's gotten hurt. Bilal Muhammad hurt Damian Maia.
Okay, but before then, though, he was only stopped once in his career. That was his second loss to Gilbert Burns.
You can hurt someone, but what about like you said? Gilbert Burns hurt Kamaru Usman, and Kamaru Usman came right back and dropped him with a jab.
That's
and
fine.
Punched his face in. I'm just trying to understand.
So what I'm saying...
Didn't Dan Hooker knock out Gilbert Burns?
Yes, he
in 2018 when he was a 155er. The guy jumped up now. He's ready.
Understand something, Michael. Michael. I love this. This is why I love you, brother. This is why you're one of our lead MMA analysts here at TWSN, because you and me don't see eye to eye, and I like it. I like when this happens. Khamzat Chimaev is a light heavyweight. Let me tell you how this fight's going to play out. I don't know if you hate. I think you're just a big Kamaru Usman guy under default. I think you're a big Kamaru Usman guy, and you know what I know, and what Teddy knows, and what Daniel knows, and what Dorian knows. When Khamzat Chimaev beats Gilbert Burns, the boogeyman is coming. But listen, I'm gonna have a little bit of a Frank Underwood monologue here right now. What I'm about to say. If you guys don't know, you should check out House of Cards. Let me tell you exactly how this fight's gonna play out. Khamzat Chimaev is gonna come out the gates, and he's going to walk Gilbert Burns down. Do you remember when Kamaru Usman made the adjustment and Gilbert Burns was backing up against the cage? Remember, Gilbert Burns was doing well against Kamaru Usman when he was walking him down. You're not going to walk down Khamzat Chimaev. And Gilbert Burns kind of already alluded to that. He's going to let Khamzat dictate where the fight goes. I don't think that's a smart strategy. I think Khamzat Chimaev is going to walk him down, and I think we're going to see 2 outcomes. We're going to see the 2 outcomes. We're going to see Khamzat Chimaev do to him what he did to Mershart, when he punched him in his face and he absolutely flatlined him up against the cage, which I have seen happen to Gilbert Burns before, Dan Hooker. Or we're going to see Khamzat Chimaev take him to the ground and bludgeon him, which is all likely a reality too. Khamzat Chimaev is massively bigger than him. I have a lot of respect for Gilbert Burns for taking this fight, because it's a dangerous fight to take, and his number 2 ranked status is going to go after this fight. He's going to lose to Khamzat Chimaev. But I want to bring peace to your mind, Michael Daly, because I think your prediction has a hidden meaning behind it, and this is where the Frank Underwood monologue comes in. I think you should rest. I think you should breathe for a second, because Khamzat Chimaev is never going to get the opportunity to fight Kamaru Usman. I'm gonna say this again. Khamzat Chimaev is never going to get the opportunity to fight Kamaru Usman. Remember me saying this, guys, right now on this show, UFC 273 preview show, because I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. Kamaru Usman is going to beat Dorian's boy, Leon Edwards, once he gets back from hand surgery. And then Kamaru Usman is going to do what he's been alluding to for the last few months. What I told Teddy he was going to do weeks ago. Kamaru Usman is going to retire. He's going to focus on the yes. He's going to focus on doing his analyst thing. Like he says, I admire the way Habib went out. Because let me explain something to you. Kamaru Usman retires. He did what he said he was going to do. He lapped the entire division in his mind. He lapped the entire division. He beat Colby twice. He beat Jorge twice. He beat Leon twice. He beat Gilbert Burns in his mind. And it's not a lie. He lapped the entire division. It's a smart strategy. He's very, very smart the way he's going to go about it. He has no aspirations of fighting Israel Adesanya. And he knows all roads lead to the boogeyman, Khamzat Chimaev. He's going to retire. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to rest your mind. Colby Covington versus Khamzat Chimaev for the welterweight championship, for the vacated welterweight championship, which you will see Khamzat Chimaev win that. And then he's going to go up and take Izzy's belt. That's not a spoiler. No. That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. Teddy, I want to go to you, though.
I think Gilbert Burns has one thing going for him in this fight, and that's that his coach is Henry Hooft, who threw in the towel for Derek Brunson in his last fight. And that white towel will be clutched, ready to go at any moment in those first 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. This fight will end in the first 5 minutes. There's several ways it could happen. I do think the towel could be a very likely one. Henry Hooft knows what he's doing. I do have to – Malik, that was a beautiful – you sounded great. Khamzat Chimaev is not a light heavyweight. He's personally said he's never weighed over 190 pounds. He's not a light heavyweight.
And I don't believe that, but continue.
Okay, he's not a light heavyweight.
But he looks like a light heavyweight.
He will pick up Gilbert Burns, throw him to the ground, and there's two things that can happen. Gilbert can show that he wants to win this fight and try to get up from his back, or he can play jiu-jitsu, which is the same as tapping. If he goes for a submission off his back against Khamzat Chimaev, he's tapping. Period. He's not going to submit Khamzat. He will be on his back in the first 45 seconds, and what he does when he's on his back tells me how this fight ends. If he tries to get back up, he very well may get back up, and it might go another 2 minutes. If he goes for a submission, he knows he can't win this fight. Gilbert, we've talked about a toss-up. I think the UFC knows this is the easiest fight in the welterweight top 5 they can give Khamzat Chimaev. Somebody that accepts being on their back is the worst stylistic matchup for this guy. I mean, we brought up the Usman fight. He hurt Usman. What did he do when Usman hurt him? He pulled guard. Please pull guard against Khamzat Chimaev. Please. Pull guard against Khamzat Chimaev. Do it. Please.
The last thing he'll be able to pull
his
for
canvas will go through the head. His head will go through the canvas. Whatever.
All right, what happens when he gets up, though? This is what is.
He's not getting up. He's not getting up. The only way he's getting up is when the only way he's getting up is when the round ends. The only way he's getting up is when the round ends.
Oh my God! I cannot believe this. You guys are so disrespectful, and I love Khamzat. You guys are so disrespectful to Gilbert Burns and his jiu-jitsu background.
What did Gilbert Burns do? He beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and you've instilled all belief in him again?
Remember when you guys were doubting?
Just wrestled the hell out of him.
You guys doubted Gilbert. I remember this vividly because I was on that show with you guys. You guys doubted Gilbert in that fight, and look what happened.
I did.
Okay.
I picked Gilbert Burns to win that fight during the preview show. I did.
Khamzat Chimaev is the best chain wrestler in the UFC. If Gilbert Burns gets up, he's getting thrown back down. That's the answer.
Not at that right hand come because look, he's not Li Jingliang. He's not Gerald Mearshart.
Okay.
I can't believe this. Oh my goodness.
What can't you believe? And I'll tell you, I want to address something because you addressed me, so I want to address you. The reason why I said Khamzat Chimaev couldn't move to light heavyweights because Khamzat actively right now spars against light heavyweights. That's why I was saying that, and does great against them. So that's why I believe Khamzat Chimaev, with gaining 15 more pounds, he could easily make a run at the light heavyweight division because that's a stuck in the, as what Conor calls that, a stuck in the mud division right now, where the champion is 40-something years old. Daniel, what are your thoughts on this?
Spinning elbowed into hell, but we can talk about that on that show.
You said what?
He's going to get spinning elbowed through.
Oh yes, absolutely. Khamzat. I love this comment right here. Khamzat smash. He's going to smash this brother. I don't know. You've been disrespecting Khamzat a lot too, Daly. You have been.
How?
Like you've been sort of like in our chats. You've been sort of like All right, guys, let's cool it on the Khamzat hype. Let's cool it on the Khamzat
Yeah,
hype. And I'm
because
starting
tomorrow-
to think that you're a proverbial hater. I'm starting to think that.
No.
Guess what? He's the boogeyman of the welterweight division. He's coming
Sure.
for you, dude.
But he
He's
ain't the
coming for you,
greatest
dude.
welterweight of all time like
Nobody
Kamaru
said
is.
that.
You're saying he's gonna beat him though, like, oh, Kamaru's scared. Kamaru's the greatest of
Kamaru
all time.
says his toughest fight. I mean, well, he changed it recently, but listen, Kamaru's great. Kamaru is great. But you can't have it both ways. Like, we can't have it both ways. We can't say we can't say Jorge Masvidal is a journeyman and then say, oh, that was Kamaru's toughest fight. Like, we can't say that.
Did I say that?
No, but people on here have said that.
Okay.
No comment. I'm just saying, like, we can't say that because, like, Kamaru Usman, there's still some great fights out there. It's the reason why I struggle. And you guys know Khabib Nurmagomedov is my favorite fighter. You guys know that. I've been the biggest Khabib champion since he entered the UFC. And what I will say is, I still have struggled with that because I still think Khabib left meat on the bones. I still think Khabib. There were a lot more fights for Khabib to have at light heavyweight. At lightweight. And I think Khabib also, if he was actually, like, if his heart was still in it, he could have went to welterweight and potentially had a title unification bout with Kamaru Usman. I'm just saying. He beat Colby Covington twice. He beat them. He beat Jorge Masvidal twice. He beat him. He beat his former sparring partner, Gilbert Burns. How are we saying he's the greatest welterweight of all time already? He's fighting a guy in Leon Edwards who he beat already. He beat him already.
Look how much improved Leon is since then. That was 2015.
Okay, great, awesome, great, love it. But Leon also is the same guy that almost got knocked out, albeit it was like the last second.
And then he dominated the whole rest of the fight.
He did, but it doesn't matter. Fights can end in the split of a second. What I'm saying, I'm not disrespect. This is not a disrespect Leon thing. I don't want to make this about that. I'm saying Kamaru is fighting. It's the same issue I have with Muhammad Ali, guys. This is the same issue I have with Muhammad Ali. You go look at Muhammad Ali's record. No, Teddy, it's not a making face type thing. You go look at Muhammad Ali's record of guys he's fought, and he fought a lot of the same guys 4 or 5 times over and over again. That's a fact. We did a deep dive on the Game Changer show about that one show. And this is not about a debate, so I don't want to talk about Muhammad Ali. This is not. I want to stay on task about what we're talking about. And what I'm talking about is Kamaru Usman has already beaten Leon Edwards. Kamaru Usman already beat Jorge Masvidal. Kamaru Usman already beat Colby Covington. Albeit, I personally think Colby won the last fight. That's just my opinion. I understand it. Hold on. I just think that you have to fight new blood. That's what made John Jones' run at light heavyweight so special. He fought a lot of the up-and-coming guys. He didn't just fight the same guys over and over again. The one person that people kept bringing up was his two hardest fights was Daniel Cormier and Alexander Gustafsson. Well, what happened in those rematches? We don't even talk about the fights anymore. Wonder why? Because it was so decisive. It was so decisive, but John Jones kept fighting. He kept evolving, kept fighting people that probably didn't even deserve the light heavyweight, the opportunity to fight for the light heavyweight belt. No, Kamaru Usman is not getting a parade thrown for beating the same guy he's beaten already. You become the greatest of all time by beating new blood, or by challenging yourself and going up a weight division. That's how you become the greatest of all time. I'm sorry,
2 wins over Colby Covington is very impressive.
That is great.
Come on,
that is his claim to fame. That is
Colby's
awesome.
a top 5 welterweight.
I said yes, that's great. That's what I'm giving him credit for because he has the record. He beat Colby twice. I don't think he personally beat Colby twice. I think Colby won the last fight. And a lot of people, had that fight had it not been stopped, but regardless, he stopped him in the first fight. Right. I'm saying that was awesome. Colby is undoubtedly, one of the best welterweights on the planet. Beating Colby twice was awesome. He's got to now go out, finish Leon Edwards. He says he's about to lap these guys. I'm about to lap these guys in the division. This is my division. I run this. All right, so if you want to lap these guys in the division, every guy you face now since you're the new improved Kamaru Usman ever since you started training with, what's the coach now? Is it Trevor?
Trevor Whitman.
Is it Trevor Whitman? Now, I want to see you finish these guys. I want to see you flat the same way you did Jorge, the same way you did Gilbert. Flatline these guys. If you're not doing that, if you're literally crotch hugging the entire fight, I'm not. I know you've already done that. It's your job to now go out there and stop these guys, flatline these guys. Make sure they can never say, "Oh, but I went 5 rounds with the champion" ever again. That's why he didn't stop. He stopped Colby the first time, which is why it's respectful. But I personally think Colby won the second time. I'm just saying, if you're gonna fight these same guys again that you're fighting, finish them, finish their asses, so they have no more claim to fame. Other than that, fight the up and coming guys. Fight guys like Khamzat Chimaev. Fight an up-and-coming guy in the
I think he
future,
will.
which is couple years away, but Shavkat Rakhmonov. Fight guys like freaking Sean Brady. That's how people look at you and they say, you know what? Kamaru Usman is undoubtedly the greatest welterweight champion of all time. Until then, I don't give a damn. I don't want to hear it anymore. He's got to show it. He's got to show it. It's not about beating the same guys and lapping the same guys over and over again. We've seen that, done that. On to the next one. Teddy, you've been waiting.
I just like GSP fought everybody twice too, and he lost to two of them. So if Usman isn't the greatest 170 ever, who is?
It's still up to be. I personally think it's still up for debate.
Well, there has to be one. The division's old enough. There has to be a
Okay, well, right now I think GSP is.
But he did the same thing Kamaru did, but he lost.
But at least he went up there and he challenged himself. But that's not what this debate. We're not debating this right now. We're not debating GSP's record right now. We're not debating GSP's record right now. That's not
But
what
you're
this is
saying
about.
you can't to fight people twice and be the GOAT. GSP did the same
No,
thing.
that's not what I said, Teddy. Don't put words in my mouth. What I said was, if he's going to fight people twice, he has to finish their asses. Because you're saying his whole thing is, I'm lapping these guys. I'm getting better. I'm gonna lap these guys. I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. So now if you're fighting these guys over and over again, who you already have dominated for 5 rounds or for 4 rounds, whatever it is, now put the exclamation point on. Like Jorge Masvidal can never ask for a Kamaru Usman fight again, ever. That fight can never even be brought up. He
fought Colby twice. He stopped him once.
Yes.
He fought George twice. He stopped him once.
Right.
He gets to fight Leon again. He can stop him.
Gilbert. That's what I'm saying. So he fights Leon Edwards. He stops him. Okay, but if you're gonna stop him, right? If you're gonna stop that, because that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting Kamaru Usman to go out there and stop Leon Edwards. That's really what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting him to hug him, because I wouldn't be impressed with that. Is what I'm saying.
He's clearly the GOAT if he does
Okay,
that.
he's not my GOAT. He could be your GOAT. We can agree to disagree. But what I'm simply saying is, I want to see Kamaru Usman then. I want to see Kamaru Usman then take on some of the new blood in the welterweight division.
Let me ask you one more question.
That's what John Jones. Dorian, am I right or wrong? Is that not what John Jones did? He fought new blood.
You are 100% right, except one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kamaru is better than GSP because, like Ted said, GSP did rematches and GSP lost the first ones. But I do think, but Malik, you're 100% right. That's why I had to give me some chips, man. You spitting. I'm because you speaking facts.
Everybody gets so hurt. Everybody gets so sensitive when I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm not disrespecting Kamaru Usman. I just want to see him face new blood. I want to see him fight some of the newer guys in the division. I'm sorry, that's just what I want to see. I want to see him fight Tom. And you know what the saddest part about it is? No, I don't care. I don't care what you're saying right now, Teddy. Listen, you know what the saddest part about this whole thing right now for me is? I feel we got robbed because we didn't get to see that with Khabib. Khabib had spent 2 years dealing with injuries and stuff like that in the lightweight division. I just know Kamaru Usman's about to walk out. I know, bro. I know he's going to, after he beats Leon, he's going to retire. I know he is. And that's going to be the suckiest part because it's going to be like, damn, Khamzat Chimaev versus Kamaru Usman will be a damn great fight. And I think we're going to get robbed of seeing it because I think Kamaru's too smart. Kamaru's not going to go out. Kamaru wants to go out on top. Yeah. And I get it. I understand it. But, like, listen, take risk, man. Take risk and dare to be great, man. That's just what I want to see. Daniel, what are your thoughts? We've been yapping about but I don't know. I want to see Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat so bad, and I just think Kamaru's going to rob us of that.
No, I agree. I mean, if you look at his position, right, he has everything to lose. And I think because if he were to lose that fight against Khamzat versus, walking out, he has so much more. He can, as you say, he can always say, oh, I would have beat Khamzat. Oh, I ran laps around the division. I would have done this. Bro, but you know that you wouldn't have. So I think I completely agree. I think what's going to happen in this fight, I want to side with Daly. I'm trying to see how does Gilbert win. And, it always goes back to the whole I'll let you answer this.
That's the dumbest comment I've ever seen.
Can we stop?
That's the worst comment I've ever seen regarding mixed martial arts. That's
GSP faced way more great competition. How?
He lost to Matt Serra
and Johnny Hendricks.
He got knocked out by Matt Serra. He didn't get submitted by Matt Serra BJJ. He got face melted. Absolutely destructed by Matt Serra. My question that I was going to ask Malik, and now I won't, I'll ask this commenter. Who has GSP not even beat, fought that's as good as Colby Covington?
True.
No one. No one.
True.
Matt Hughes? Get out of Bisping? Get out of here.
Him coming back for that last fight against Bisping did a lot for his legacy because people
That
won't
was
ever
sick.
go back.
That was
Yeah.
sick, but Bisping isn't Colby Covington.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think it's just more so the nostalgia fact. I think people have a hard time claiming people are goats when they're still
Somebody
active.
said Carlos Condit. Get out of here. Get out of
Oh,
here.
I like Carlos Condit. Don't disrespect
Better
him.
than
not
Colby
Colby, though.
Covington?
He's not. No, he's not. But just don't be disrespectful. That's all. Like, okay. I think.
And Carlos Condit almost slapped him.
Yeah, I think he rocked him. I think he
He
rocked him.
kicked him.
Yeah, I
Unpopular
remember that.
opinion. Unpopular opinion. Somebody said, "You get out of here, Teddy." Carlos Chase is always a supporter for us. But I will say this: I feel like nobody talks about this enough. Michael Bisping was winning that fight against GSP before GSP finished
He
him.
was getting beat up off his back.
He's getting beat up. Yeah, Bisping was
Yeah,
beaten.
dude, Bisping was throwing some stuff from bottom.
He
Yeah.
sliced GSP up off his
Open.
back.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a bloody fight. I mean, I remember that. Like,
That picture of the choke is one of the most MMA just bleed pictures. He's going out with blood dripping down his face.
God, I don't ever like, and I don't want to overlook the Gilbert Burns fight here when we are talking about it, but I think we all have high expectations for Khamzat Chimaev here. I hate when we have a fight like, perfectly lined up and we get robbed of it. That's how I feel about Tony Ferguson versus Habib, prime Tony Ferguson. That's how I feel about Habib versus Charles Oliveira. Although we think we know how those fights would have played out, or we all have our own opinions of how those fights would have played out. The fact that we were still robbed of it, we never got to see it through. That's the part that sucks. And I think that this is going to be one of those things where this is going to be a dream fight. You know how fans say Khabib versus GSP, is a dream fight. I think that Khamzat Chimaev and Kamaru Usman by September will be looked at as a dream fight because Kamaru Usman will retire. And that's the part for me that sucks. But we spent a lot of time on it. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add? Yeah, sorry, Dorian, you didn't talk.
I didn't even make my pick.
Let's hear it, brother.
I was gonna give a long soliloquy, but you covered basically all bases. I'll speak through mine.
I'm sorry.
As for the fight, I don't want to be disrespectful. I like Gilbert Burns.
Okay.
He's a good guy, but I never thought like he was an elite fighter. And
Yes.
me and Ted had gone back and forth in the chat about this. He says, hey, if you're top 5 in the best promotion, you're elite. And I'm like, well, I mean, I guess. And then Michael goes, hey, he knocks out Damian Maia. I mean, okay, like, I don't know. But in all seriousness, except Daly, we all agree Hamza's going to run through him. My thing is, I want to see small things. Can Burns stuff a takedown? Can Burns get up? Can Burns make it to the bell? Will Burns strike with? Will Khamzat strike with? Like, I want to know things on both sides. Is Khamzat gonna play with his food, quote unquote? Will he go out and just drop him one shot like GM3, or is he gonna pick him up? Hey, where's Dana? Okay, Dana's over there. Is he gonna walk Gilbert? Because Gilbert Burns is smaller than the Leech. So if he can do that to the Leech, he will pick Gilbert Burns up like a fireman's carry, like a father picks up his son, and walk him over. Hey, Dana,
Take him to get a milkshake.
yeah, come on. We're gonna go get a for real shake. Which one you want? Like, he can do, Malik, you know about the for real milkshakes.
Yes, I do.
He can do what he wants with Gilbert. And I don't want to be disrespectful. Gilbert has power, I guess, but Khamzat hasn't shown a bad chin. I saw one of his fights where he got that nice uppercut. I don't know his opponent's name.
He ate a head kick, and that guy's in Eagle FC, like a contender in Eagle FC.
Yeah, Khamzat ate a nice head kick and he walked through it. I mean, granted, he had to go to the bell, got a little 60 seconds in between. But I mean, if you can eat shots like that, I don't think Gilbert Burns has anything for him.
A beard, dude. He's got protection.
Yeah.
You know, Daniel said it best, Dorian, on Game Changers. He said that this is going to be the fight. Like, we all, like all MMA enthusiasts, all the hardcore MMA fans know about Khamzat Chimaev. And I think other people are starting to figure him out a little bit, only because of how crazy he is, and he is crazy.
Yeah.
But this is the fight where you know, like there's certain fighters that have those fights where they just put them on the map from like a superstar. I think that this is the fight where Khamzat Chimaev becomes a UFC superstar.
Yeah, it is.
I think this is the fight where he becomes an absolute star, like Khabib like did. Because I still feel like us hardcore MMA guys, and it might sound crazy, but I still feel like until Khabib fought Conor, people still were like, it's weird. Like people do certain like I feel like people still didn't know about Khabib. Like they knew about him, they may have heard his name, but they still didn't take him like as serious. Now became like his own. He became his own superstar, where he could literally headline an event. He could be like the super main attraction of things. And I think Khamzat Chimaev is going to put on a beating so bad tonight on Gilbert Burns that I think that this will knock the doors down. And Ted, I want to just address something real quick. You and me had talked a few weeks about this. I think in the last few weeks I've realized Neil Magny is lucky that he didn't get that fight with Khamzat Chimaev like he was asking for it. I'm happy the UFC didn't actually pull his card and give him, and I'm happy that fight actually wound up not happening, because I'm confidently saying this. I think Khamzat would have beat Leon. Sorry, Dorian. I think Khamzat would have beat.
I was going to touch on that after.
I think he would beat Neil Magny. I think he would beat Neil Magny too. I think
in second. Beat Neil Magny in second.
Yeah, and Neil Magny was like, everybody know. Neil Magny just called him out 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I'm like, are you drunk?
I didn't even think Neil Magny won that fight. Not for
right.
I was there. I think I put on my story 29-28. Either way, Neil Magny's not that good.
Yeah.
Right. And he called Khamzat Chimaev out. I'm like, I don't know if you want that fight. But
isn't he going to fight Shavkat?
He's going to get brutalized by Shavkat.
See if you can handle that first.
Right. Because I think that's a future fight. Shavkat, you tweeted that out, Teddy. Shavkat versus Khamzat.
I think he has to hit the weight room.
Who?
Shavkat.
Yes. I still think Khamzat will beat Shavkat, but
he's a little soft in the
midsection area. That's a really good fight. I forgot there was one fight where he got punched and he got hurt. It was a fight I saw a couple of fights back with him. He actually got hurt. But Dorian, what did you want to touch on? You said you want to touch on Leon Edwards.
Yeah. As far as Khamzat's path, I do wish he would have fought Neil Magny, because me personally, I like to see the UFC build guys up and not just give them layups. Like, and it's Khamzat, so anything looks like a layup to him. But I think fighting the Leech, fighting Neil Magny, and then moving up, like they were about to give him Leon after his third fight. Leon's the number 3 ranked guy in the world, and we talk about Gilbert Burns give respect for taking it. Yo, give respect to Leon, Mike, because he took that fight twice.
Well, no. Well, I will say this: the last time, because they were going to remember when the Kamaru, or I forgot who Jorge pulled out. They were going to give Leon Edwards Khamzat, and Daniel Cormier said he called him personally.
Somebody in the comments just said something I forgot about. Leon Edwards let the UFC take him out of the rankings to fight Khamzat. You remember that
in 2020?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, but
he got a phone. I respect the hell out of that for it. Daniel Cormier said he called Leon himself and told him, "Do not fight Khamzat Chimaev."
You shouldn't.
He said that dude is too. Not that you can't beat him. He said that dude is too like dangerous, and you're
way
right.
Too high risk, way too low reward.
For real.
At that time. Now beating Khamzat's a huge reward. Now
that would be my last point. Fighting Khamzat, you know, when you got a hype train behind you, when you're undefeated, when I want to smash, I kill everybody, it's like, okay, you're super duper high risk because you're a great fighter, but the reward for beating Khamzat won't be that good. So if Mike is right and Gilbert grabs an arm, everyone's gonna say, "Oh, we told you Khamzat had no. We told you he didn't fight nobody yet." So the reward's not really gonna be as high. That's why I'm not mad that Leon didn't take the fight. Leon's like, "Yo, I'm waiting on the champ. The champ hurt.
Can I tell you something though? And I don't think I've ever said this anywhere, guys. And I'm gonna say this right now. I think depending on the fashion Khamzat wins tonight and what he says when he hops on the mic, there is a world where Khamzat Chimaev jumps Leon Edwards and fights Kamaru Usman if the fans want it bad enough. The UFC will be there.
I think Colby's the next fight for Khamzat.
But if Colby is still dealing with this whole thing, like they said, he's not in the mental space after the Jorge thing, or whatever the case would be. I don't know, whatever that is. I'm saying, you know one thing about UFC.
Come on, I'm not letting you do that. Come on,
no,
bro.
Because listen,
Colby
listen.
never punched in the face.
Well, hear me out. there's not that much hype around Kamaru versus Leon. I don't think the fans really want to see that fight as much as, but Leon is the rightful number one contender right now. But I think if Khamzat Chimaev goes out there and dominates, and Ted, I want your opinion at this. I know we're spending a lot of time on Khamzat Chimaev, but to be honest with you, this feels like the main fight everybody's looking
This is
for.
the people's main event.
It's about
Dana said it's pulling on social media 3 times more than other the main and co-main combined.
Yeah,
this fight.
I think if Khamzat Chimaev does what we all think he's going to do outside of Daly tonight, and what he jumps on the mic and says afterwards, I'm really curious: is Kamaru Usman going to be in the crowd? I really hope he is. I will say this:
his English is bad, and he goes on these crazy I think he just grabs the microphone and yells.
Yes, he's in such a great position. I think that this fight, if he beats Gilbert in the fashion I think he's going to beat him in, and then gets on the mic and says, I think he can jump Leon Edwards, and they will make the fight Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev. And then I'm really curious what Kamaru Usman does then.
That's what the UFC wants, clearly.
Yes.
I want to say one thing.
He's number 2. He's fighting the number 2 ranked guy.
I think we all picked inside of 5 minutes. I will be more impressed if Chimaev goes to the second round and beats him there.
Just to show he could do it. Yeah, that would be
yes. He's way more dangerous if he goes over 5 minutes and gets to finish.
But bro, here's the thing. Here's the thing Kamaru Usman doesn't realize he did. Like, Gilbert went out and said, yeah, Kamaru Usman's helping me train. And me and Ted literally text me, like, Kamaru does not want this fight. And I said, absolutely not. Like, he does. So by him going out there actively helping Khamzat's opponent, Kamaru can't say, I don't know who this guy is. Remember, Jorge Masvidal, that fight happened because Jorge Masvidal had the hype around him. Based off of what he did. Based off of what he did. The UFC let him jump everybody, and he fought Kamaru Usman. He fought Kamaru Usman. I just think that there's
a week before the fight, too.
You said what?
The reason
Burns got
Kamaru
COVID
would
a week before the fight.
Yeah, that is true. That's true.
Yeah.
The reason Kamaru would take a fight with Chimaev for a belt and not retire is because the numbers they could show him of what that pay-per-view would be.
Yes.
It would be millions of dollars he could make.
Yeah, and Colby's focused on fighting Dustin. That's a great point by you, Chase. That's a great point by you. UFC could have all these plans for Colby that he wants, but Colby's interested in what Colby's interested in. And like the fact of the matter is, it's Khamzat's path is clear. He wants to fight for the belt. Colby's already fought for the belt twice. I just see a scenario where the UFC. Am I crazy, guys, for thinking that though?
No, I think the UFC clearly wants that. That's why they gave him such a leap in competition. I do think, like he was saying, all right, everyone's ducking me, which to a certain degree I agree. But there's no way from 15 to number 2 all said no. I know Leon said no. Colby and Jorge are booked.
Well, Neil definitely said yes if he was asked.
And that's the thing. Neil Magny's been on Twitter, Instagram, after fights, after wins.
That's not fake. He is that guy. He'll take any fight.
But Neil was never a big enough star, though. That's the thing, though. Khamzat has been groomed ever since July 2020 to be a megastar. Neil was never that guy.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying I think the UFC clearly wants the Khamzat versus Usman fight, like you said, to jump Leon, because I'm a huge Leon fan. I'm probably the only Leon fan because he's not.
Leon's a great fighter. Leon's a great fighter.
A great fighter.
He's not a fan favorite. I think he's probably the most technically sound fighter in that division.
One of them.
And
He a good little fighter.
All right, Floyd. Floyd Mayweather always says that he's a good little fighter. No, but that is stupid. That is stupid. No, I think so if that happens, I think the UFC would think. I mean, because Leon Edwards would be pissed. It'll be a lot like similar to what they did with Habib and Conor McGregor.
Isn't there a video?
Remember
of Dana? There's a video of Dana telling Leon, "You're next."
Yes,
like on video.
Yes, but if you remember, Habib was supposed to fight. Was supposed to fight. What's his face? Eddie Alvarez. Yeah. And the UFC came to him and said, "We need you to take a back seat. We need you to." He said he already signed on to fight him. He said, "Let Conor do it." And then Khabib said, under one condition, you allow him to be on that card, and that's the card that he beat Michael Johnson
for 50
So what if the UFC did that with Leon, Kamaru fights Khamzat, and then Leon fights Jorge Masvidal.
You know what? I don't think that happens.
I'm okay with that.
You know what? I don't think that happens because they already did it. If you remember, they passed up Leon for the Colby the rematch. They already did it one time to him. I don't think they're going to do it again.
I think they do. I do. I think because they. I think you
That's
can.
on Nate Diaz, not on Leon Edwards.
Yeah.
You got to talk to Nate about that.
Yeah. It just makes sense. If the people want Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev, especially after Gilbert Burns came out and said he's helping train with me. Go ahead.
I like this comment. I'm looking at the comments. I had it full screen. Chase made a good point. You don't risk Usman until he main events UFC Africa. I think they want Francis headlining, Izzy co-main, Usman, and UFC Africa against Leon because Leon's Jamaican, and then Adesanya fighting Cannonier, 2 African Americans.
Oh my
and
God!
Francis against John Jones. That'd be the biggest card in history. If anything, they will do Khamzat versus Colby interim belt or Khamzat versus someone interim belt, and they're gonna try to keep UFC Africa together. Dana said he's trying to get that made in 2022. So Chase, you're absolutely right. Completely forgot about that. There's no way they're letting Khamzat touch Usman before that.
Good point.
Think of that. Francis John Jones.
It is, but I want Khamzat to smash him.
Izzy Jared Cannonier, Usman Leon Edwards.
Except Izzy? I'm pretty sure Izzy wants Cannonier for 276.
Yo, give Khamzat Usman in Africa. He's like, I'm the champion. I'm African. I'm everything.
Did you see him? He said, I'm more Brazilian than Gilbert. He don't even speak Portuguese.
That is so disrespectful. Oh my
God.
Is it true though? I don't know. Does Gilbert speak?
He does. Yes, I would imagine he does.
I didn't know if he was telling the truth or not, but that was just really funny.
Gilbert has what you would call a real Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, meaning it is from Brazil.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're gonna. Okay, so that was a great talk about Khamzat. That should tell you how excited we are all about, except for Daly. We all are excited about his stardom in the UFC. And Nader, I also want to shout you out here too, because once Khamzat Chimaev beats Gilbert Burns, I don't ever want to hear you say, "Oh, I've been the biggest Khamzat Chimaev fan," because you did that with Jorge Masvidal. Don't do that. We remember you guys hated, and remember when you guys said Gilbert Burns was going to beat Khamzat Chimaev. So when Khamzat Chimaev smashes your boy, don't say anything. Aljamain Sterling is now taking on Peter Yan. Dorian, we're gonna let you start this one off.
Let me start it off.
Dorian, but before you start it off, I just want to show you something real quick, just to jog your memory of something really quickly, because I think you have what's the word I'm looking for?
Selective memory.
Definitely.
So Aljo after that knee.
Right. All right. So
I don't know. This whole the whole way that whole situation transpired. I understand Aljamain Sterling got kneed and all that kind of stuff, but guys, come on. Like I remember after the fight, Dana White says he doesn't have a concussion. There's nothing wrong with him. He's fine and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. Here's what I will say. I went back and I watched the fight yesterday. Sorry, that clip of him falling down to the ground, actually acting like an absolute, after he got kneed or whatever the case may be, was pretty dramatic. But
deserves that Oscar more than Will Smith Aljo does.
I like Ted. He's funny.
I love Ted. I don't know. To me, I think Aljo definitely milked this, man. I think he's milked this up for so long, and yeah. I went back and I watched the fight for the second time, for the third time actually yesterday, and Aljo actually, it was a little bit difficult for Peter Yan in the very beginning to figure him out.
He came out too hot, though. He came out
way too hot. And he's saying, I'm going to do the exact same thing again. Now, it could just be gamesmanship. I'm just saying that again. Because if you do that again, I think Peter Yan will find him. I think Peter Yan might finish him earlier in this fight. because there's been a lot of back and forth. But Dorian, we know how you feel about the Funk Master. We know that you're very high on him, and you were saying he's the champion, he's blah 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 for about a year now, and now we're finally seeing this fight after a year. Curious to hear what you got to say though, Dorian.
Aljamain Sterling is already 1-0 against Peter Yan. Let's just set the facts out on the table. He's 1-0 against the interim champion. One's undisputed, one's interim. Let's just be real. Aljo, like you said, he came out. He's a funk master. That's his thing. He's a very funky style. It was hard for Peter Yan to figure out. Aljo's my guy, man. So, but I got to be real. Peter Yan, he's getting him out of here this time. And the reason I say that is because, similar to your point, when you rematch a person, you have to do better the first time. Or than you did the first time for it to be impressive. I feel Aljamain is a guy where when you fight him for the very first time, you're like, what the hell is this guy doing? Like, you're a grappler, but you're throwing spinning back fists and giving me your back. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're a wrestler. You're a D3 All-American. Why are you giving me your – but he does weird things that you're not used to. Peter Yan got a good, 15, 20 minutes in the octagon with him. And Aljamain coming off of a neck surgery, you know, he couldn't go 2 rounds just 6 months ago. Now you're going to come back and fight the top of not just the division, but the UFC. Peter Yan could arguably be pound for pound number 1, if we're being honest. If he wasn't Cheater Yan, then he would be pound for pound number 1, arguably.
Wait for the TWSN pound for pound list. Ted might have him as number 1.
I mean, and in all fairness, he would be deserving of it. I don't think beating Uriah Faber gets you a title shot, but that's another story. But I mean, Peter Yan's that guy, and I think he figured him out later on with those trips and just kind of manhandling him. I don't know how Aljo, coming off neck surgery, coming off such a super long layoff, and giving Peter Yan his game plan already, I don't see how he gets it done this time. I think Peter Yan finishes him probably 2nd, 3rd round.
Daniel.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with that, right? I went back and rewatched it. And I think the biggest storyline, about this, when I rewatched it, it seemed like Sterling, yes, he got out ahead right at the beginning. But what was he doing? He wasn't really damaging him. Peter Yan wasn't hurt at all. He was, just kind of getting a feel. And as Dorian said, those 20 minutes in the cage, that helps a lot.
And Yan actually dropped him in the first round. Like, you could argue Yan got the first round. He had the most significant punch of that round. So, sorry, Danny.
No, you're good. And the biggest thing, honestly, is there's so much pressure on Sterling. There's so much pressure on him, right? I don't want to say, I saw that UFC embedded, but he looks scared. Sterling doesn't look confident. And I don't know. Yan is just those 20 minutes were crucial. And I think Yan puts him out within 3.
Daly, I'm really curious to hear your thoughts.
Tonight is the night that Petr Yan proves why he is the very best boxer in the UFC. And he's also going to prove why he's well on his way to eclipse Dominic Cruz as the greatest bantamweight champion in history. I am very confident about that. He was well on his way to claiming that title against Aljamain Sterling. We all know what happened. I don't blame Aljamain for accepting the title. I blame him for hanging out with Henry Cejudo afterwards. But still, Petr Yan is going to rectify that mistake. He's going to get the job done. Next fight, he's going to face TJ Dillashaw. And from there, it's Petr Yan to the moon. This guy is the real deal. He's a great wrestler, a great boxer. All around, Aljamain can't hang with him.
All right. I was riding with you for a minute. I promise you I was riding with you. You're my guy. Let's not just dismiss. Let's not just dismiss TJ Dillashaw versus Peter Yan.
Thank you. First of all, let's not dismiss the TJ. I don't care how their fight went. TJ Dillashaw is a little bit above Dominic Cruz.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I think that will be one of Peter Yan's toughest fights. Not gonna lie to you.
He's not losing that though.
I'd pick Peter Yan too, but I have to see that fight before I say he's the greatest bantamweight of all time.
Yeah, I think that just to simply dismiss and make it seem. Remember, TJ never lost his belt. He never lost this belt.
He's gonna be coming off of another long layoff, bro.
With a leg injury too.
He needs
TJ is so weird though.
He needs
He's
a warm-up
so
fight,
weird.
because he didn't look.
So
I
weird.
rewatched the Sandhagen fight, and Mike, I want to apologize to you. I said TJ easily won that fight. I don't see how anybody scored it for Corey. Rewatching that fight, Corey probably won.
It's close.
Like,
It was
TJ
very, very close.
TJ wasn't doing too much, and that was off of a layoff with no PEDs. Now you're
Would have torn MCL, by the way, which he already had going into the fight.
right, and now you're coming off a layoff, no more PED, and now an ACL injury or MCL, whatever.
But are we sure he was using performance enhancement drugs at bantamweight? They said that was only for flyweight because
No, it was to make weight for
It was EPO.
125.
yeah, I don't think he was doing that at bantamweight. I
It was
think
to make
bantamweight
weight for
is his
125.
division, and I think that he's going to provide a very tough challenge to Peter Yan. I really do, guys. I wasn't a big TJ Dillashaw guy back when he wasn't, because I always felt like he was a little just too much over the top at times. But he's a difficult fighter to prepare for.
You can't put him away. Simply
The way
can't.
he moves in and out, I think we see a 5-round war between him and Peter Yan. I don't think Peter Yan finishes him. I think we see a 5-round war.
You cannot finish TJ Dillashaw. The
Yeah.
only stoppage ever is one of the most questionable stoppages in UFC history. He did not get stopped by Henry.
Yeah, but I don't think he's a better fighter at this stage in his career than Petr Yan.
Peter Yan. I still pick Yan.
I pick Yan, but I think we see a 5-round war, and you guys know how
Sure.
decisions go in the UFC. It can go to anybody. I think it'll be a very interesting matchup. The way TJ Dillashaw gets in and out of the pocket, I just think his fighting style is.
Have you seen Peter Yan imitating TJ
Yes.
Dillashaw?
Yes, which tells me right there. Can I tell you what that tells me right there? They say that if you're champion long enough, people start preparing for you.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
people start
for sure.
preparing
He's
for
definitely
John
been
Jones.
watching. Do you
Oh
know
my
the
God.
story about when Izzy was first coming to the UFC before he was even in the UFC?
Robert, what about
DC asked him to train for the John Jones fight, asked Izzy to train, and Izzy would not go to AKA because Rockhold was there, and he was the current 185 champion, and he didn't want Rockhold watching him train. Like that, yeah.
Izzy's so advanced.
Yeah. Like these,
All right.
the point to what Malik said is these fighters are looking years ahead. So Peter Yan was already watching TJ Dillashaw when he was the champion.
It's also an interesting reason why I think Sean O'Malley, we had the opportunity to interview Sean O'Malley about a year and a half ago, maybe at this point.
Yeah.
It was maybe a year ago, actually. It was a year ago. Sean O'Malley is adamant. He's been adamant everywhere. Anytime you ask him, he can beat Peter Yan. There's something in Peter Yan's game that Sean O'Malley sees, because Sean O'Malley hasn't been too I haven't seen Sean O'Malley on record asking for the Marlon Vera fight again. I haven't seen that. Have you? I haven't seen that.
I think he said that he wants to just rise the ranks and then have them meet as champs. It'll be, or as one of them be champ. Sean said he's going to be a champ, and then it'll be a bigger rematch that way.
I'm a
Who's gonna be
huge
champ?
Sugar Sean fan. I'm a huge Sugar Sean fan. He's doing nothing to Peter Yan.
I agree. I think Peter Yan beats him bad.
I think
No,
he's
I'm
on
just
his
saying-
I think he's on his
That fight's still 3 years away, though. 2-3 years away. So
For sure. Did we all touch on our opinion for the Aljamain Sterling fight? I don't think we did. Did we?
I don't think I went.
Chad,
No.
Chad, go ahead.
So I think it's really interesting that Malik, he said he's going to come out the same he came out in the second fight, in the first fight. Because if Aljo comes out with that much just action in the first round and he makes it past the fourth round, he's on EPO.
You know what the illusion for him is? Let me tell you what the illusion is for him. You're funny as hell, by the way. The illusion for him is he had that one judge that had him up on the scorecard. That's the illusion.
You can give him the first round for sure.
Yes.
The second round, he was still just throwing. If you look at the strikes, it's very one-sided.
Oh, I agree. No, but I'm saying I think that creates an illusion for him that he doesn't need to change the game plan.
Well, I think he's created an illusion for himself that he's
Yes.
a super champion.
Well, he has to, though. He has to, though. From a mindset standpoint, if not, then he's already lost.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. And I mean, like Dorian said, he is technically 1-0 against Peter Yan. Matt Hamill is 1-0 against John Jones.
No.
He is, though. He is.
No.
Take
Dana
that-
says otherwise.
Take that as you will. I think he stops him in the 4th round. Jan stops Aljamain. I also think no. I would love to see Peter Yan come, because Peter Yan has had one that I know of rematch in his career. He lost the first fight, split decision, 5-round pre-UFC fight. He lost the split decision, came back, and I believe stopped him the second time. So I do think there's a chance that we don't see the 2 rounds of just taking in information from Jan. I think we'll see a guy that knows what he's coming up against, and he will win the 1st round handily. He'll win the 2nd round handily. We'll stop him in the 3rd or 4th round. I don't think we'll see that just high guard and just.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I don't think
so either. Guys, I do want to touch on one fight after we go after we talk about the main event that I definitely want to get to. It wasn't really on the pecking order, so to speak. But it's clear the UFC wants this fight to happen, and I'm really curious to hear. It's very rare that we get this star-studded cast together for a UFC preview show, so I definitely want to touch on it. But before we get to that last fight that I want to talk about, let's talk about the last fight on this card. The last fight on this card, we've got Chan Sung Young. Let's run through it really quickly because we have been going for an hour 40. Chan Sung Young taking on champion Alexander Volkanovski. Let's get our picks really quickly, and who's next in line for the championship? Let's go with Daniel.
Yeah, no, Volkanovski's gonna win this fight. I don't really see, a way for the Korean Zombie. I just went back and rewatched. Volkanovski's too dominant, right? I saw him against Holloway. Obviously, those were 50-50, could have gone the other way. But then even against Ortega had the submission in, but Volkanovski still fought. And the Korean Zombie, for me, takes a lot of strikes. Volkanovski hits hard.
Can I tell you something? There's one thing that kind of at first I was talking to Teddy, and I was like, I think people shouldn't sleep on the Korean Zombie in this fight. I watched that press conference, like the weigh-in, the official weigh-in. Chan Sung Young, he seems so nervous. He seems so nervous for that fight. When they did the face-off, he was like shaking, like back and forth, and I was like, "What the hell is he?"
You're saying the Korean Zombie was nervous?
Yeah, I don't. Did you guys see that?
I thought the press conference sucked. I don't think I even made it that far, to be completely honest.
I think he was more shocked that Volk had asked for a face-off because I guess they told all the fighters there's no face-off.
No. It wasn't at the press conference. It was at the weigh-in, the official weigh-in. The weigh-in.
I didn't.
Oh, okay. So yeah, continue. I'll pull it up as you guys are talking.
But no, I just think that Volkanovski, he hits hard, man, and I think it's gonna go. I think I'll take him to TKO.
Peter Yan tweets at Aljamain Sterling, make sure you eat a good breakfast and lunch.
Did you see he got a chain with like the leash that had Algio?
Yeah, he kind of copied Izzy. He kind of copied Izzy.
Yeah, he did. But Dorian, want to go to you.
Yeah, I agree 100% with Daniel. Except one thing, I don't think it's going to be a TKO. It's going to be a flatline knockout. TKZ gets hit a lot. I'm a big fan of his, but if Ortega can outstrike you, we just saw what Volk did to Ortega on the feet, and Ortega is literally the Wolverine, so he can eat shots 24/7. I just think the rest has to go after TKZ.
Mike, let's go to you.
Yeah, so the way I see it right now, this is my fight of the year contender. I think there's a very good chance that this will be a split decision win for Alexander Volkanovski, but I like the Korean Zombie striking. I like his ability to weather any storm. His hooks are pretty solid too. That right hook hit Dan Ige a few times. I think this will be very, very competitive, and right now it's my fight of the year contender.
But do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, why is he like? I don't know. I just sense this mad nervous energy during that way, and I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, and I could 100% agree.
I think he looks ready to go. Honestly,
he looks happy.
He looks excited. Yeah.
Like for me, I'm like, I don't know. Volk just seemed more like dialed in to me. Again, could be reading way too much into it.
Volk is a killer. That's why Volk knows this is a sacrificial lamb, and this is supposed to be Max for the third time, and Max backed out, and TKZ is gonna have to get this.
We're sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, this is TKZ is a sac. Let's be real, Mike. TKZ lost to Ortega bad. You got
Sure.
outstruck by Ortega. You didn't get choked out. You got outstruck by Ortega, and you're a striker. We're giving you Dan Ige because he's a boxer, and we're going to see if you can beat him. And, I mean, you got past Dan Ige, but was it impressive? And now you're going to get a title shot? Like, come on.
Hold on, though. Sacrificial lamb as if this guy is from the Sisters of the Poor. The Korean Zombie has earned the right to fight for a title. I don't care that Max Holloway was in his way. He's earned the right.
Yeah, of course.
He
and
has fought for a title.
Yeah, last time he earned the right, he got beat down, and Vegas has him as a.
But how many years ago was that, though?
And he hasn't gotten back since.
He's back now, though.
By hook or by crook.
Oh, sacrificial lamb though is that's the phrase I'm on. I don't agree with that.
The reason I say that is because we all know who this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be Max Volk 3, the unofficial. Well, not unofficial.
Max did not look good against Yair, as good as he should have.
That's such a difference, right, from Volkanovski.
Yair is way better than Dan Ige.
Yair was on a 2-year layoff. I don't care about. Oh my.
No, but like stylistically, Max did look. He looked terrible against Yair, but that's not the same as fighting Volkanovski.
Max wrestled.
I get it.
Like, he's getting his legs chewed up by Yair. Of course,
Yair is a tough out though. He is.
Yair slept Korean Zombie after getting beat up for 24.
That was November 2018, and then he fought those 2 times against Jeremy Stevens, and then didn't fight for another 2 years. I don't care about the stylistic matchup. You got to handle that.
It's the reason why he's still at the top of the division, though.
It was a suspension, though, and it wasn't PEDs. It was a whereabouts suspension.
Yeah, but if you're Max Holloway, though, you need to look clean if you want to fight Volkanovski. He didn't.
But he was going to fight Volk, and then he pulled out because he got hurt.
And he's not even – can I just say one thing? I hate that this fight is happening. Max is completely healthy right now. They could have just rebooked. And to say, like – I think saying sacrificial lamb is too far. I also think it's way too far to say Korean Zombie is deserving of a title fight. He just lost to the guy that's the guy losing the title fight.
But he beat Dan Ige. Oh, no. That was October 2020. This is a year and a half later.
Dan Ige is nowhere near title contention.
Oh, okay. Dan Ige was the top 10 featherweight when that fight happened last June. Come on. If he wins that fight, he's right in the conversation.
Did he win the fight?
If he did, he would have been. Come on, you know that.
Are we talking about if he did or what happened? Because he lost.
No, but we know
there's a reason why Ige was fighting that fight. He was there for a reason.
Yeah, because featherweight's top heavy and Korean Zombie's coming off a loss. So here we're gonna give you someone who's in the top 10 so people know him. But this is a guy you're supposed to beat. Featherweight, we know it's Volk, it's Max, it's Ortega. Everyone else, and I guess we could throw Yair in there. Everyone else is a level or 2 below.
He's not a sacrificial lamb. He's also not deserving of a title shot. He's situationally found himself in a title shot. It's going to be a fun fight. I'm excited for it. I think the UFC messed up booking it so fast and not just seeing how Max – or maybe Volk just won a fight. If Volk just won the fight, there you go. I'm not mad at it. He's not a sacrificial lamb. He won't get stopped. Everyone saying he's going to get stopped has not seen Korean Zombie fight. He got stopped on a, Krav Maga elbow from hell from Yair Rodriguez. That's about it. But
1 second to go.
Ortega spin elbowed him in the second round. He fought the last 3 rounds unconscious. I don't think he's getting put away. I think he's getting 50-40 forward and never being in a title shot again. Ever.
One quick point, Malik. Ted brought up a good point. Volk just wanted a fight. This was supposed to be Volk Max. Volk's like, bro, if Max pulling out, don't move me. I want to fight because Volk said he wants to fight 3 times this year. To Malik's point earlier, Volk is trying to get new blood on his resume. Beating Max 3 times doesn't make you the featherweight GOAT. You got to go beat Aldo. You got to beat Mendez. You got to beat Max. You got to beat Ortega. Now he's just adding Korean Zombie on the list. And if you guys don't like the term sacrificial lamb, I'll change it. This is a layup for Volkanovski. How about that?
That's even worse. A layup.
All right, Mike. I don't got nothing for you.
I think it was the best available. It wasn't ideal. It was the best available.
Not a layup though. A layup, that's a cakewalk. I mean,
the way the Korean Zombie can take a shot and the way he will continue to walk forward, he's not a layup for anybody. in my opinion.
What about this Arnold Allen?
I don't think he's going to win a round against Alexander Volkanovski. I think Alexander Volkanovski, if not Peter Yan, is the pound-for-pound best fighter in MMA. I think he's the most technical fighter in MMA. I don't think he'll make a mistake against the Korean Zombie. I don't think he'll be on his back against the Korean Zombie. I think he'll jab, leg kick his way into a very, very easy victory.
I got one thing to say before we head out of here. So there was this one fight that I wanted to cover. It's not a fight yet, but it's a fight that the UFC clearly wants to make happen. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of throwing you guys for a loophole right now, but I've got to. So, huh?
KK and Asked.
Oh my God, if they did that. Actually, it's Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya. The reason why I want to cover this right,
he's got to beat Sean Strickland.
Well, hear me out. Clearly, UFC wants Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. The reason why I'm bringing this fight up now because I don't know when we're going to get this particular crew back together again, and I really value everyone's opinions here when it comes to MMA coverage. I've got to ask you guys. I was talking with Teddy probably about a month ago maybe not a month ago. It was about the big top of the month at this point. And we were talking about the prospect of Israel Adesanya fighting Alex Pereira again. They fought, for those of you who don't know, they fought twice. One time, Izzy got knocked unconscious and had to be woken up with, I believe it was, like they had to bring an oxygen thing in for him to wake Izzy up. And I was talking with Ted about it, and I was like, yeah, Ted, I said Israel Adesanya probably wins in the UFC. And Ted says, does he? He said, does he? Because that was in kickboxing. Like, this is the UFC. He said, is he going to immediately wrestle with him? Like, what's going to change? And so I don't know. I really value everyone's opinions here. And I'm sorry for throwing you guys for a loop, but I really want to cover it really, really quickly. How do we see that fight playing out? Because to be honest with you guys, I think Alex Pereira beats Sean Strickland. I do.
I'll take first on this. I'll take first. And I'll humbly say I probably watched the most glory kickboxing. One thing I will say, Alex Pereira is worse than when he fought Izzy. I believe Izzy is better than when he fought Alex Pereira. I did say what I said to you. I said what would be different is the glove. The gloves would be different. The gloves would be smaller. I think here's the thing. I think Izzy could beat him with grappling. I think Izzy has probably had to learn the grappling that he could implement against
Dorian's left.
I think he could. I think he could. I think his pride wouldn't stop him from ever doing that. I think as the biggest Izzy fan on this panel, there's nothing that eats away at him like Pereira being in the UFC, winning in the UFC, his name still being in conversation. There's this clip where Izzy says, he watches all my fights. I don't watch any of his. I don't think that's true. I think over 5 rounds in a cage, it's so hard for me to say. I would want Izzy to win. Nothing would be different. Alex Pereira could still knock him out cold. Alex Pereira's left hook is the pound for pound best punch in combat sports. Well, I mean, go watch his last fight. Bruno, what's the guy's name?
Bruno Silva.
Every time he landed that punch, staggered, bad. And Bruno Silva doesn't get stopped. Never been stopped, I believe, in 28 fights.
Right.
I don't think he's ever been stopped. I think the defense would be more difficult for Israel with the small gloves. I think everybody else is going to disagree with me, but I think I've probably seen more of Alex Pereira. He also had went up. Like his last 5-7 kickboxing matches were with 205ers. So dude, I think he's a problem for Izzy. Because I think if Brunson got there, Brunson could have been a problem for Izzy the second time around. I know that sounds crazy the way their first match went. But I think if there's someone that can beat Izzy on the feet in the UFC, it's Sean. It's Alex Pereira. Any other way, it's going to be grappling. I also think, to bring this back, I think if Chimaev wins a belt, his first fight after winning the 170 belt will be for the 185 belt.
Yes.
And I think that would be a fight as an Izzy fan I would choose not to watch. to be completely honest.
Why is that, Ted?
I don't want to see that. There's no, I don't want to see that.
I think we both know what would happen.
I really don't think I could bring myself to watch that. But I'll let everyone else go. Daly, I know Daly knows some kickboxing too,
So Daly, yeah, let's go to you.
familiar with Pereira's career.
What we need to do here is put some respect on Israel Adesanya's name because the arena is different. And when I say arena, I'm talking about the UFC. It is different than kickboxing. And granted, although Pacquiao beat him twice, the last fight was March 2017, if I'm not mistaken. I believe I have that right. That's 5 years ago. And at that point, I think that loss had a profound impact on Izzy because he said, you know what? Let me focus fully on MMA. He did that, and it paid dividends for that. If Israel Adesanya is going to lose his belt to anybody, it won't be to Pacquiao. It'll be to Khamzat. I'll give you guys that. I think Khamzat is ready to take over at 185 eventually. But right now, though, even though Pacquiao and Adesanya, that fight would be a kickboxing match in the UFC, I still have to favor Adesanya because he has 5 years worth of experience, or by then it could be 6 or 7 years worth of experience. And I think he just has all the confidence in the world in a different arena.
The UFC is definitely trying to fast track this fight for to happen. Because after he fights Jared Cannonier, I do think I think that left hook that Teddy had mentioned is probably going to catch Sean Strickland. It'll be gonna be a tough fight. It'll tell you. But am I wrong for saying this? I don't mean any disrespect to Alex Pereira's career by saying this, but I firmly believe the UFC signed him to fight Izzy.
Yeah, they did.
I think that's the reason why he's in the UFC.
Well, Malik, I think it's a little bit. It's kind of like the boogeyman aspect. Like you guys were talking about with Khamzat, I think in the back of Israel's mind, it's like, oh, here's this guy who beat me twice, so it's that boogeyman aspect.
Right. Here's my Malik. Are you mad they did that? Because who else do you want to see him fight at 185, the worst division in the UFC?
Outside of Khamzat, nobody. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Do you want to see him fight Sean Strickland? Sean Strickland wouldn't land a punch on him. He wouldn't land a punch.
Yeah, it would be. I just don't want Izzy to get stagnant like John Jones did at light heavyweight. And I'm afraid that's sort of like
with no Glover in the picture, I'd love to see Izzy properly take 6 months off, bulk, and go back to 205. I'd love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Not against Glover, but one thing I didn't mention from the technical standpoint of that fight, like in kickboxing with the big gloves, it's almost all in pocket fighting, and leg kicks really aren't a huge weapon. I think Izzy could potentially just take Pereira's legs out from under him in the octagon, which didn't really play a factor in their kickboxing fight. So that might lead. If that fight gets made, I'll really have to think about it. But yeah. But right now, I think it'd be a sick. I mean, as far as stylistic, show this to your friends that don't watch MMA. Pereira versus Izzy in an octagon would be just nasty.
I hate that saying so much because every time it's that, I'm like, yo, you gotta see Romero versus Adesanya. And then there was a whole bunch of this. And then my boy's looking at me like, this is what you watch? I'm like, nah, I'm telling you, this is the one. Yo, he's the next Anderson Silva. And they're like, really? And I don't know. It just never worked out.
But if you did that with Izzy versus Anderson, it would have worked. That was a sick fight.
Yeah. I had to double back and do it on Izzy versus Costa. And then he was just
that worked.
This other guy sucks. And I'm like, no. Paulo Costa is like that.
Nobody's ever done that.
The guy I was telling you about. Yeah, that's how it went.
It's just weird for me because I felt like Izzy could have put Robert Whitaker out his last fight.
Yeah.
He just chose not. It's weird.
He said that though. He said, I want to beat him over 25 minutes to let him know he's not better than me anywhere at any time. I didn't just catch him. And he did say that. And his coach Eugene said that also. That on his rematch path, he's going for UD. Because he wants to 5-0 everybody just to show I'm so much better than everybody, which I can kind of respect.
He also, in his career, even before UFC, he gets bored in fights. If the fight, you see when Kelvin starts heating up in the 4th and 5th round, Izzy went not. First of all, he stopped Kelvin. I think that was Mark Goddard. He stopped him. That's a stoppage. Then you see Whitaker won. Whitaker is in the pocket exchanging. Izzy, okay, kill mode. Then you see Marvin Vettori wants to do nothing but hunt, and you can visibly see Izzy is bored by the third round, patting him on the butt, like in a fight like Pereira or someone like that. If you bring the fight to Izzy, he will. Robert Whitaker had a smart game plan. I'm not going to take that away from him. He did what he could do to try to win. You could tell Izzy didn't care about that fight. By the way,
it was a sparring match. That's literally what he took it as. And I mean, it's what he didn't want to risk himself. So I like it.
Whitaker didn't throw Whitaker got countered on a right hand in the first round and never threw his right hand.
And never threw it again.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah. But Danny, do you have anything you want to add to the Alex Pereira?
No, I mean, the biggest thing is kind of going off. I just really remember watching that last fight. I was like, this is a sparring match. But to Ted's point, Whitaker didn't do anything to get that out of Izzy. And I think the opposite would happen, right? With Pereira, he would take the fight to Izzy. And Izzy I don't know if he would be he wouldn't be emotional, but that would be his most emotional fight because he lost that fight. So I think that would be
twice.
Oh, he lost twice.
Yeah.
So
And hey, listen, there are a lot of Izzy fans that only know the knockout, and they go, he was winning the whole fight before he got knocked out. True. The first fight, he literally lost the decision. So he's beat him on points and stoppage.
So, and this is on the biggest stage, the brightest lights. I would love to see that. But I also do agree that the Khamzat fight would be bad or not bad, but it would be a tough fight for Izzy.
I've broken this down. I think Izzy would look masterful for a minute and 45 seconds. He'd be beautifully evasive, probably catch him
against Khamzat.
Yeah, he'd probably catch him. He'd be a little too far away, have the distance for about 2 minutes, catch him on strike till he's trying to get a takedown, and then the second he grabs him, because the octagon would just get smaller and smaller. Khamzat would shrink the octagon smaller and smaller.
It would look like Jan. The
fight. The second he grabbed him, it'd be over.
And again, not that we were bringing this up, but it really does feel like, guys, Khamzat Chimaev might be the first fighter that has the opportunity to win a belt in 3 different weight classes potentially. It really does.
Izzy's also developed this. Not to cut you off, but Izzy's developed this defense, and he's done it. He's literally done it his last 2 fights, Vettori and Whitaker, where he gives up his back to get he will
yes.
It's a city kickboxing thing.
Yeah,
he trains them like
that. Yeah, Car France just did it too.
He must train them to do that.
And they
gave Askar off your back, and I'm sitting here like, bro, my parlay is about to be messed up.
It's not just to climb the fence. There's giving your back to climb the fence. They will give their back off the fence into a full rear naked choke to get out of that position. You're not doing that with Khamzat Chimaev. He's popping your head off like a bean.
Would Khamzat open up as a favorite, you guys think, or no? Just
absolutely.
100%.
I hope he would.
Because that fight wouldn't happen until you got to think of it. That fight wouldn't happen until he was the champion. So he would have already proved himself.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to mention, I think Khamzat's favored against anybody, but on the Pereira Adesanya thing.
Wait, is Khamzat favored against Kamaru?
No.
Wait till tomorrow.
If he's not, I got a few thousand on it.
It'll be close. I think the lines will be really close, though. I do think they will.
I think he. Am I wrong for saying he finishes Kamaru?
If Kamaru is favored tomorrow to beat Khamzat Chimaev, I'll put money on it tomorrow.
Yeah, because I would too. I think Kamaru gets finished by Khamzat.
But honestly. Yeah, as far as the Pereira Adesanya thing, Ted made perfect points. I kind of mad he went first, but I think what he said is right, because in kickboxing, they're boxing gloves, so you can put your guard up like this and kind of block shots. MMA gloves, it's not like that. And Izzy is a guy who he doesn't really use the high guard. He's very evasive. So while he's slipping, if he slips into a kick or he slips into a shot, that could be troublesome. And not for nothing, Izzy is, we all, the world. He's world-renowned kickboxing. He's the best kickboxer in UFC, arguably history. If you want to, I guess, scratch Overeem because of the PED use. But it's like Pereira beat Izzy at kickboxing not once, but twice. So if you're gonna go in there and say, "Oh, it's MMA," like Daly said, "Oh, it's MMA," so this is different, and Ted said he's gonna grapple him. Yo, Izzy shot a takedown. I think he would lose fans, and I'm not exaggerating. I think he would lose fans. I think the UFC would dock his purse.
Oh, who cares?
I think Puma would cut him. I think no, seriously. Like, yo, you're the knockout, or not the knockout artist, but you're the stand-up guy. If you shoot a takedown, you're confirming what everyone already thinks, that this guy is far ahead better than you at kickboxing. And Izzy's too prideful. He's Nigerian. He's New Zealand. Like, there's pride in that. He wears his country on his chest, broken native. I'm not shooting a takedown. I'm about to knock him out. And that's when he's going to get caught. And that's the worst thing, because we just saw in the Silva fight, Pereira can take a shot. Mm-hmm. Izzy's not the one-punch knockout guy. Izzy, it's attrition. It's a clean shot that stumbles you and then he follows up. Or he drops you and then he follows up. We just saw him take clean shots from a heavy hitting Bruno Silva. I think, and even if he did shoot a takedown, this guy's training with Glover Teixeira every day. Izzy's not getting him down. Izzy's not taking him down. So I just don't see. I mean, granted, Daly, you're right. It has been a few years in between. And MMA kickboxing is a bit different than actual kickboxing. There's other things you got to deal with, such as leg kicks, like Ted brought up. But I don't see a way in which Izzy survives 25 minutes without getting clipped at least once or twice by that left hook. And that left hook has put him down with, what are they wearing, Glory? 12 ounces?
Yeah.
10,
so
10, 12, yeah.
10, 12. You're going to cut that in half or a third? Yeah, nah. I don't like it. So I guess I'm the second biggest Izzy fan on the panel. Let's go Sean Strickland.
So the other last thing we have is Ted. Let the people know, what should they be playing? What should be the picks be today?
Okay, let me pull it up right here. I have.
And I do think Sean Strickland would land a shot on Izzy. I think his zombie style, just walking down, throwing shots, would be a lot more effective than
the mirror.
Fight, like Costa was doing or Romero was doing. Like, no, you're gonna get hurt bad. It's Izzy. He's 6'5". Like, come on now.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we're going. These odds are probably from a couple yesterday, but I got Arce minus 180, Rodriguez minus 130, Gary minus 370, Chimaev, Jan Volkanovski, the three favorites from the last three, 6 leg plus 479.
So we've got Gary.
I wanted Rosenstrike on that over Arce. I do think that's safer, but I still think 2-year layoff. Arce is too dangerous for that. Lock her in. We hit 965 a couple weeks ago. This ain't even half as risky as that, and I'm twice as confident. So
I think 4 of these fights on here are locks.
4 your locks, Gary.
Chimaev, Volk, Jan, and Gary are all locked.
Yeah.
I think Arce is obviously.
Yeah, if you want to play it really safe, do those 4 and just put bigger money on it. I'm not against that at all.
Right. So those are our plays today for you guys. We want to thank you guys so much for staying in. This is our longest UFC 273 preview show. 2 hours. 2 hours. Wow. That's a lot of time.
Thanks to our half-hour Usman rant.
Damn, okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, then it cuts it down to an hour and a half then. All right. I'll take the blame. But that, if you guys can't tell, the TWSN crew here is truly one of the best in the business, as Daniel had just tweeted out, in terms of MMA analysis. And we're excited for the card tonight. I feel like the prelims and the early prelims, and I feel like the main card, I feel like the last 3 fights are great. So like I'm really excited.
I had something pulled up. Let's not forget, this card was supposed to be Kelvin Gastelum.
Yes.
Imavov was on this card. Dricus Duplessis, Chris Curtis, Cincinnati was on this card.
I'm happy Kelvin Gastelum's off the card because he would have lost regardless. He would have lost.
Why do they keep giving Kelvin Gastelum fights in the UFC?
What'd you say?
Why do they keep giving Kelvin Gastelum fights in the UFC?
He was a tough guy. Yeah, Ultimate Fighter, and he takes late replacements all the time. So
and he's durable.
Yeah.
But I was excited to see Duplessis in the spot tonight. Unfortunately, we're not gonna see it. But and Marcin Tybura, don't think I forgot about you. I didn't forget about you. You're gonna get melted at some point or another. But guys, make sure you guys follow us on all our social media platforms. TWSN on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you want to make a little bit of money, subscribe to the TWSN Patreon. We'll be putting all our plays on there. And guys, have an excellent fight night, and we'll see you next time.
And welcome to the TWSN Patreon page. Here we will provide you with the sports betting tips, picks, and information in order for you to become a successful gambler. We have 5 packages that I think really do an incredible job of providing the information tailored to you, what you want, and what your sports betting needs are. For more information, reach out to the TWSN team, but we have a ton of stuff coming your way. Content from fantasy football, sports betting for UFC, NBA, NHL, and of course the NFL. We are so excited to be able to bring this service to you, and let us know if there's any